Welcome to What If I Don't Like It? I'm your host, KT Baldessaro. This episode we'll be talking with Arielle Faye-Foulds and Sarah Freiser about the latest entry into the Adam Sandler Sadlerverse, Spaceman. Welcome back to episode 10. When we started this podcast, I think one of the very first actors to get called out on the mat by several people was Adam Sandler. And don't get me wrong, he can be a lot of different things to a lot of different people. They can really love him for his comedy and absolutely hate him for his drama, and then vice versa, be like, God, his stupid baby voice drives me insane. I hate when he tries to be funny. It just doesn't land for me. But when he tries to be dramatic, like in something like Uncut Gems or Spanglish or Funny People, which is kind of a mix of the both, to be honest, it resonates with me. And I am, again, like with our Eli Roth episode, finding myself to be a convert of recent years, where I didn't totally like Adam Sandler. I used to really like some of his early stuff. Billy Madison, I was the perfect age for when that came out, and was definitely laughing hysterically and quoting it as much as I could to my siblings and my friends. Even The Wedding Singer with Drew Barrymore, who, despite sharing a resemblance with not my favorite actress, still have a reverence for that movie. It came out in a time when I was just there to receive it and really, really liked it. And maybe because I've worked on some pie production things, I might be a little biased towards other films that I don't really like, or I know how background actors were treated on some of the comedies that he's worked on. I find myself a little angry with these films for existing and being so difficult to film. But as I dive into his dramatic work and I start to see an actor trying, an actor learning to act, I mean, as an actor, I have to admit, you don't start perfect. No one should start perfect. You have to start somewhere. And I'm really impressed with what Adam Sandler has managed to do in what I like to refer to the Sadlerverse, which is an Adam Sandler sad movie. It's something admirable, and it's something that, as a fellow actor, I would like to say that I got better over time, and I picked roles that showcased who I was and what I wanted to do more over time. Obviously, we talk about this in the episode. You're gonna need to do stuff that just sells. Comedy is an easier sell. Comedy brings back more money. That's what most people want to see him do. It's usually your film nerds and your prestige people who want to see something more like Uncut Gems, so it's nice to get to see him doing both. Smash cut to now, Spaceman has recently come out on Netflix, and of course I threw that on right away. Very interested in this. You can usually get me with a existential or horror, or just put it in space. Just put it in space and your girl is gonna at least show up. Add into that, I'm here to see if Adam Sandler is growing as an actor, and this is a dramatic role. Like, the director said, no comedy. I don't want you to bring any comedy into this. I want you to act what is on the page. And I found myself impressed and excited. I desperately needed to show this to people who might be on the fence about Adam Sandler as a dramatic actor. That brings us to something even more interesting about today's episode. It's going to be our first episode with 2 guests. And strangely enough, one guest has seen half of the movie and had to stop, and the other has seen none of it. So we'll have to see if that has any effect on it. But I'm just really excited to have these 2 people and get to show them to you, because they're such wonderful friends, and the rapport between the 2 of them is like having a nice warm cup of tea while someone wraps a heated weighted blanket around you. It's It's not soporific, it's just deeply comforting. It's like you're stepping into a shared relationship that you've always existed in. They're utterly welcoming, they're very, very funny, and deeply thoughtful artists. So, to get them to come in here and talk about Adam Sandler, someone who is often thought of as not any of those adjectives when it comes to being an artist, was a thrill for me. And to just have you guys get to listen to the kind of witty repartee and comforting dialogue that they will give us is a joy. I am, of course, talking about Arielle Faye-Foulds and Sarah Freiser. This is Arielle's second time on the show, making it also another first for the show. This is the first time having two guests, and the first time having a guest come back. You might recognize that name from episode 2, where we sat down and we both watched Bad Boys for the first time to see if it was our jam, and to kind of just experience what needed to be experienced. Sarah is joining us for the first time, though. Although I have spoken about her experiences in the past, you'll know her name got mentioned in the Moonlight episode, and we'll talk about that in the first half as well. Some quick plugs while we're up at the top, though. I want to remind everybody that I am still doing those reviews on TikTok at Movie Runtime. I'm trying to do stuff a little bit more cinematic as well, so you'll see that I'm doing movie reviews in the form of skits, some comedic and some horrific, as I test out some ideas, because I will be doing my second ever short film since Girl in the Basement, and this is going to be for round 23 of the Just Scare Me collective, which is out in Burbank, California, operating out of Blast from the Past. Our wonderful guest from the Goonies episode, Jared Skolnick, fellow director, worked on Girl in the Basement with me, told me about it and has entered several films in there. You can see those short films by going to the liner notes or even just subscribing to my account on YouTube. Also, Movie Runtime, but with the word KT, my name, at the end. So Movie Runtime KT. I have a collection of short films on there that I recommend, and you will see all of Jared's available short films on that list because he's pretty awesome. He told me about this. Like I said, he's got those films that have already been entered, and he will also be entering in round 23. It's a bet that you do with other filmmakers, 30 approximately. Each person says that they will make a 6-minute or shorter horror-themed short film, and they have 2 months to do it in. If they don't, they owe the entire group $100. So this is like a good way to make sure you put your money where your mouth is and actually get something done. It's not a competition, though. They describe it aptly as a gym. It's a way to test stuff out, get better, build up those filmmaker muscles, and just enjoy the art of making film, and also do it in a group so that you can see everybody else's stuff. It's way more fun to make art as a group and to support each other. Let me tell you what, you do not want to make art in a vacuum. Also, if you are in the Western Mass area, specifically East Hampton, Massachusetts, I will be hosting a Women in Horror panel on Saturday, May 4th, starting at 7 p.m. They will show several short films made by women directors, after which I'll host a panel with several of those directors. You can talk to us. All your gnawing questions will be answered. It's going to be super fun, and I am very, very excited to be a part of the East Hampton Film Festival. Go to easthamptonfilmfestival.com. You can see the full program. It goes from the 2nd to the 5th. There's tons of movies being shown, not just horror ones as well. You can buy tickets. You can see every film that's going to be played there is listed there. All the information about mine as well, which will be in the Blue Room at City Space. Again, that is May 4th, starting at 7 p.m. Tickets on sale now. I look forward to seeing you guys there. I'll also be doing a little bit of PR with Chris Ferry, who is in charge of the entire festival, organizing it all. Really awesome guy. He'll be with me and another director on the 413 with Monty, which is an NPR affiliate show. We're doing that tomorrow, which is technically today because that's when this airs. So we'll be doing that on the 15th, which is right when this episode is coming to you. I'll also be doing Mass Appeal, which is a local Western Mass show, WWLP. That's going to be on the 25th. Again, this is all going to be with Chris Ferry. Really awesome, really sweet guy. Cannot stress enough how much hard work and dedication he puts into making these festivals happen for us in Western Massachusetts. He's a stand-up guy, and I really encourage you to support him by coming out to this festival and seeing all the wonderful art and artists that he's brought together for us. That's it for now. We're going to hop right in there, and we're going to start talking about Adam Sandler and Spaceman. I did want to throw one more quick thing in here. If you are the kind of viewer who is made dizzy or nauseated by space movies or any kind of zero-G movie, do skip this movie. You'll find out that we do have someone who has an issue with that as we go on. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there for people. Don't watch this. If that can trigger you, it likely will.
Just like you, I fled my planet. Through galaxies, through black holes, through time. And then I found you.
Welcome to episode 10 of What If I Don't Like It? We are joined today by a previous guest and a new guest. This is our first episode where we're going to be having two guests with me. It's very exciting because the guests are from episode 2 about bad boys, Arielle Faye-Foulds, and I feel like I want to call her your sister from another mister, Sarah Freiser.
Hi.
Absolutely correct.
You're a twin, but she looks more like you than your twin.
It's true.
We get that a lot.
My any sort of facial recognition software out there, be it on my phone, be it Meta, it definitely confuses us both. Your photos are in my selfie photo reel. It's a whole thing.
Yes.
We've
Me too.
Oh my God.
I absolutely. And you know what's even stranger is that we each have sisters, and I think our sisters look like each other.
that's true.
as well.
It's true.
Yeah.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That is super.
I know. You get the 4 of us together.
You guys wind up at the same hospital?
Listen, I think that could be a different episode.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll do the parent trap and bring you both back on.
Oh my God.
I would totally, yes, sign us up for that right now.
You guys prefer the 70s one or the Lindsay Lohan one?
I think I want the original one. I want the Haley Mills. Yeah.
I've definitely seen the original one, but I've not seen the Lindsay Lohan. My sister and I loved we took notes on the original one. Yeah. We got real schemy for a while after seeing that.
Hijinks.
Yeah. Yes, there were shenanigans and hijinks. Correct.
There's some iconic moments with the Lindsay Lohan one though, and like some good looks, iconic people.
And Lisa Ann Walters is in that. She's a really great actress. She's in Abbott Elementary right now. It's very, very funny as like the nanny.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I have not seen the Lindsay Lohan one, just some clips, I will admit. I do often stop and think about like the premise is definitely something that should get both kids taken away from the parents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also just like who in their right mind would be like, okay, we're separating these two children who look exactly alike, never to be acknowledged by the other parent. It's okay. This story dies right here, right now. Nobody will ever question it.
Yeah, it robs twins of their humanity pretty immediately and sort of sees us as just like a curiosity object, which has been like the history of twins of like freak and seeing identical twins as really something as an object instead of two actual human beings. And I have to say, like, personally, of the identical twins that I know, they are wildly different people, and you can immediately see the differences in each person as you get to know them.
Yes.
Not to say I haven't made the fatal flaw of calling one twin the other twin's name, and it's so embarrassing. But I think that movie was such like people started asking us things like, do you have a secret language? And like, do you guys ever go to each other's classes after that movie came out? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. The secret language thing, I think, is the first one that people want to talk about. Did you?
Right. No, guys, we tried. We like gave it a real good shot and then couldn't keep it together. So no, it lasted probably like 10 minutes, but like we have a language in the way that someone who you grow up and directly next to and make eye contact with every single day for the first 2 decades, like that is somebody who you obviously have a deep understanding of. Shout out to Tessa.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tessa. Yeah, I feel like the way that like I don't have a twin, I have a younger sister, but I feel like our secret twin language is like the edit of memes that we exchange on Instagram. It's like highly specific and highly relevant to our lives and like
Yes.
always hits. And so in that way, it's like, yeah, we have a twin language here and
And that's something that's evolved between you,
dank memes.
you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
dank memes. That's a recognized language, I
I
think.
think it is. I think it will be in our life.
It's super curious that you point out the objectification and exoticism of twins that look alike to such an extent that we eventually get the film Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, where people are mind boggled that the idea that twins could simply not look alike.
Mhm.
Right, exactly. And surprisingly, I never watched that one, even though we are fraternal twins. And although we're both girls, so we're trying to launch the term sororal.
I can't say I've seen it in a long time, but I will say that it was wonderful when I watched it. The rapport between Schwarzenegger and DeVito, again, you'll get that in Batman when he plays the Freeze and then the other one plays the Penguin. They've got a good working relationship. I did enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, they're very cute together, and it's also just so goofy. Like Danny DeVito is so tiny, like, physically, and Schwarzenegger is obviously like a house. So
The
it's
dichotomy.
delightful. They both got into it with some
Yeah,
heartfelt moments for sure.
Indeed, indeed. I like the
absolutely.
idea of the two of them hanging out offset.
Mhm.
Mhm. It is also funny that you've never used your sister to like swap yourself out in any kind
No,
of way.
no.
My sister and I have literally the same exact voice to the point where she was watching a podcast that was covering Purge election year, which I was in but did not watch because when you lived a movie, you often don't want to watch a movie, and that one was a hellish set.
Hard pass.
And I didn't get paid as a talking actor because I had lines, but they said that they cut them. And my
Oh.
sister was listening to a podcast where they had one clip, and the clip was the scene that I was in, and she heard what she believed to be her own voice talking, and it really freaked her out because I was speaking in Russian, and she was like, "Oh my god, that's me speaking Russian, right? What?"
Oh my god.
That's how I found out they didn't cut my line, but when we were kids, we used to hand the phone to each other when we didn't wanna talk to a relative, and the other one would just keep the conversation going on behalf of the first one.
Cute.
That's amazing. The audio sub in.
Yeah. Tag in, tag team.
Outstanding. That's really smart.
I do see my sister and I having like we have similar speech cadences. Like we say things and
Mhm.
do things in a certain
Yeah.
way, and then like that's the only time that I'm like, oh, there's a similarity between my sister and I, like physically. We don't look
Yeah.
anything like physically, but it's the way that we say things and kind of the tone of our voice. It's very funny.
Yeah, a very
Yes.
specific patois.
Yeah, that's
Where are
Yeah.
you from?
I hail from Hoboken, New Jersey.
Oh, yes, there's a great, okay, oh god, I can't even remember the band's name anymore about Hoboken.
Yola Tango.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yola Tango.
I love them.
Used to have, they're, some of the best to come out of Hoboken. But many other there's the first baseball game allegedly in Hoboken. Apparently the first Oreo was sold in whatever East Hoboken is. I'm not sure what that is. It's a square mile. It's not
Ooh,
that deep. And,
that's a that's a great piece of trivia.
it's a I know it
It is.
all about it. Small town. It's right there, right on the Hudson. Oh, and also, iconic on the waterfront was filmed there,
Mm.
Oh,
and
yes.
it's a real they
Yes.
filmed all around Hoboken, so it's a real trip to see, those locations, in the in the film, which is really, really cool.
Mhm.
Um definitely of a time. They're now those longshoremen, docks are luxury apartment buildings, that are quite gorgeous and have some beautiful skyline views. But yeah, good old Hoboken. I was born in Manhattan, raised in Hoboken. Now I live out in Queens.
Queens, which is where I hail from, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna be biased and
yay.
declare that the best place you've ever lived.
Possibly on the same block that I currently live on.
That's where my mom grew up. I am from, Bayside,
Oh,
so
that's right. Yeah,
closer
yeah,
to,
that's where your mom was from. There's still
the
some lore. Yeah,
yeah. I'm off of Bell Boulevard
nice.
back in the day. And Ari, where are you hailing from?
I'm from Amherst, Massachusetts. Don't pronounce the H.
Got a lot of, female poets in history there as well.
Yeah, it's big on poetry, man. We claim Emily Dickinson and Robert Frost, Eric Carle, not a poet, but Hunger Caterpillar guy. Uma Thurman, the guy who was just in The Bear, and in Andor. Gosh, what's his name?
Eben, not that guy.
Yeah,
The
no,
sexy
Eben
one?
Moss, other name?
he's got 3 names.
Yeah, Eben and Moss.
Oh, someone is listening to this podcast screaming this information out.
No, it's
Um,
okay. So at the end of the podcast, I always do we didn't know what we were talking about while we were doing it, and here's the answer. So they'll get the
Hey!
answer at the end of the episode.
So much more compelling than Googling it in real
Oh,
time.
I'm
Yeah,
so
otherwise you just hear a lot of like clackety keyboard, and I'm trying to figure it out. You know my clackety keyboard. Dude.
yes, I do. Clackety clack.
As we're sitting here telling stories of our past, I do really want to prompt a particular story because we did an episode on Moonstruck, and I gave the audience a little bit of information, but now we can have a firsthand account here from Sarah. You went to a pretty peculiar wedding.
Yes, I did.
Tell us about
It was actually a year ago around this time. Yeah. So this wedding was for a dear friend of mine. We had already shared this passion for the film Moonstruck, and my friend decided to make this a deep theme of her wedding celebrations. So it was effectively a Moonstruck theme wedding. And the way that it was at a beautiful location in the Pacific Northwest. It was a really, you know, beautiful, moody place, with beautiful views, and it was rainy, but it was great. And when we were the wedding weekend went as follows. The first kind of evening that we were there was a screening of Moonstruck, which is, amazing. Who does not want to watch the most romantic movie of all time?
Easily.
In my opinion, I will die on this hill. Um, but before this, there was also some Moonstruck trivia, which I thought I had in the bag. I was like real cocky about it, guys. And let me tell you, I did not do
it.
well. This is hubris. This was real short order. I realized I was not did not know all of the lore of Moonstruck. But I will say that it
Wow.
was a good mix of like pretty niche stuff about the movie and the production of the movie, which
Mhm.
I don't
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
really get into the details of like it was edited by the blah blah blah. But there was also like some moon facts, like science moon
Oh,
facts.
Oh, science facts about the moon.
I was like,
unfair.
so it was
Who sees that
Unfair.
Jeopardy
so I don't
category?
feel,
Come on.
but I also feel like I know a good. It doesn't matter. I just like to say that this was not a trivia that I did well at, but it was low stakes. It was very low stakes, so I don't hold
Right.
a grudge, and it definitely keeps me humble to this day. And then, uh, so then the actual wedding ceremony. So the two individuals that were getting married that during this weekend met at a piano bar in Brooklyn, and they are big piano bar people, and their crew, who are beautiful and amazing and sweet, they are all piano bar enthusiasts and singers. So this ceremony was effectively an open mic.
Wait, Yeah, a piano bar is like a exactly what it sounds like?
Yeah, it's basically a bar. It's almost like a cabaret. There's a bar, there's a piano. I as a as a non a piano bar enthusiast or a frequenter of the piano bar, I there's some means for, people to, request a song, or I think they might bring sheet music if they have it, I don't know.
Okay, alright. I lived in Austin for 12 years. I never heard of it, but I love the idea that this exists somewhere. Maybe I'm like a future piano bar person.
Great release. It's like karaoke, it's like higher stakes karaoke because there's, like, an accompanist there.
Oh god.
Mhm,
Oh god.
mhm.
I see what you say, open mic,
Yeah,
and this happened at the wedding.
so this happened at the wedding, and so you had to, like, sign up and, like, the everybody the married the couple getting married were like, "This is what we want everybody to do. We want everybody to do something at this cabaret, at this piano bar. We have an accompanist." This accompanist was fantastic. Um, he was a studio musician. He played for Liberace. He played for Robert
Cool.
Goulet. It was incredible. Like, and he's now part of the scene in Portland. But so I was like, okay. But I was also, I used to sing. I used to like being quiet in a cappella group.
For the record, you have a beautiful singing
Oh,
voice.
thank you. I do not
Mm.
frequently sing. I'm a
Mhm.
scaredy cat. Uh, I'm
Me too,
sober.
me too.
Yeah,
But you got it.
yeah, yeah.
You got it in
I
there.
got it in there,
Yeah.
but I'm a bit of a fraidy cat. But, uh,
Mm.
so I was basically ignoring this request of my very dear friend to sing. I was just like, "Nah, that's gonna be a pass for me."
Mm.
And then, as it got closer to the wedding, and I think when I saw you guys last year, I was like,
Mhm.
it I was, like, a few days away from, like, leaving for Portland, and I kinda in while I was on this trip, the one of the, people in the marrying couple was like, "What are you doing? Are you singing? What are you singing?
Yeah.
You're singing. You're singing."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, damn, guys, I think I have to sing. What
Yeah.
sing? What the hell am I gonna sing?" And, like, so, like, mustering up the courage for this, and then, like, thinking, like, well, because this is a moonstruck wedding, there was only really one option here, which was the iconic "That's Amore,"
Yes!
Yeah.
and there you go. I ended up being, like, either, like, the 1st or 2nd person to perform at the
Oh,
cabaret, at the in the ceremony, so I just got it out right away. I got the
oh
crowd
god.
going, I camped it up. I,
Yes.
probably isolated myself for, like, 2 hours ahead of time to just, like, get just
Mm.
try to create some muscle memory in my throat, and also, like,
Sure.
beg the front staff at the front of house staff at this hotel to, like, print out my sheet music that I was like, "Dear God, I hope this isn't, like, a key that I can sing." I have no idea, but I
Oh
was
god.
yeah. So, but this is to say, "That's Amore" is always the right answer for what to sing if you
I can only imagine
yeah,
how you hype that crowd up.
yeah. It was
Yeah.
That sounds freaking great.
mhm,
Great choice. Great choice.
thanks. I survived, and I lived to tell the tale here. It was great.
It's an ironic choice because it's the obvious only choice, but did you know that that song was added after test audiences
Mm,
hated originally the movie starts with a piece from La Boheme and no lyrical content, just a
mhm.
classical piece from La Boheme, and people, stood up and walked out, because they thought, "Oh, Jesus, this is gonna be like an art house piece. I don't have time for this." So they swapped it with That's Amore.
Wow. That really reframes
Yeah.
And let the lesson be that song keeps them in their
Keeps
seats.
them in their seats.
Everybody loves That's Amore. You're singing it in your head right now.
it's so cute. It's such a sweet, swingy song, and it definitely, like, it makes now that I think about it, like, the contrast between, like, just having, like, a pure La Boheme soundtrack, and there's still a ton of La Boheme in that film.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
it makes it so approachable and so of the environment that the story takes place in, and it's so sweet. It's such a good. Wow, what a choice. Good job, film.
What I'm way more representative of what you're gonna get out of the film than just like there is opera in it, but that's not the major flavor. It'd be like when you're eating a cookie with a little bit of licorice in it, they put licorice on top, so the first flavor you get is licorice. You're like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm gonna like
No,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I am also a piano bar Luddite. I feel like there should be a like maybe Pludite is the word. I feel like there should be a word for not. Like, I've heard of them, but I've never been to them. I've seen them on television.
that's right.
Yeah,
It's
This
very
is
interesting.
your country mouse moment.
yeah. And there's also like many styles of it. Like there's there's one downtown, I believe it's called Marie's Crisis in Manhattan, that
Mhm.
it's more of like a group sing situation. Like they every
Mm.
the
I love
pianist
that.
will come in and they'll take requests, but like everybody can kind of sing full voiced
Nice.
thing.
I
So
love
it's really fun. Yeah. When Les
that.
Mis comes on in the rotation,
Oh
it
God.
is people get really hyped up with the One Day More.
Can ima
It's really
That's
fun.
such a great,
Oh,
like yeah, we used to sing that as like a warm up in the like high school choirs that I was in.
Oh yeah.
not empty chairs and empty spaces that just bring the whole room down at
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
God,
It's more of
no.
like,
Um,
opening number at the end of the day or another day older. That's all you could say for the
Mm.
life of the poor. It's a struggle. I can go. I
Mm.
won't.
I
Go. We'll do it. It's just live right now.
Struggle, it's a war.
Sarah
Uh,
Fraser making you sing songs in your head while she talks.
This I mean,
exactly,
it's
exactly.
it's seeping out. It's always happening, but sometimes
Oh,
it comes out.
trust me, I hear it from your head directly into my head. Yeah, what happens between us? It's really bizarre.
I do want to throw to Ari for a hot second here and ask, how do you guys know each other?
Oh, Sarah and I met at college at Smith College in Northampton, where all three of us went. Actually, looping you in,
I
Katie.
know. I
Yeah,
was there at the same time and didn't even get to know you guys. This is an after the
ships in the
fact thing.
night.
Night.
If
Ships in
only
the
you had
night.
had our face, you know.
That was the rules. Them's the rules. At Smith, you can
Them's the
only
rules.
be friends with people who look like
Yep.
you, and that's why I had no
Exactly.
friends.
Mirroring. It's a whole thing.
I mean, just because you're one in a million, and Sarah and I are two in a million. We all studied
We even
theater.
both worked in the theater department for the same woman and still
Correct.
did not ever
And
fucking
still
meet
managed.
because we
Like,
were such
absolutely
introverted
College.
intoners.
It's like
Yes,
not that many
exactly.
people. So it's like, oh
Correct.
God.
It was
This is
not that many people.
astonishing.
Yeah, we just and then I think we just started hanging out.
We had a class together, so we like established that we were both humans in the world there. And I think we watched one movie together that we had to. And then
Yes, we were like, it was like history. It was like the history of theater. And what I remember is one of the first times we sat next to each other, I sat in an egg chair that was like,
I know exactly.
yeah,
Those they smelled so bad.
It's super
Yeah.
chair, no chair. Yeah, I know
and
that chair.
they would cut off the circulation to the back of your legs. So by the end of the hour-long class, I tried to get up and I just like sank like a stone. And I remember you being right there and just being like, "Yep, no problem to help me up," but also like we both laughed quite a lot.
I'm like, oh, you're paralyzed.
Yeah, exactly. It dragged me out of the classroom. Come on, you're
Come
my
on, you're good. Your legs will come back.
You're exactly. You had an apartment right across the street too, which was
Oh
like conducive to hanging out.
yeah, I
And
did.
it was wonderful. I loved it because I hated where I was living.
Yeah, and
It was nice to have a friend to hang out with.
I found out later that
Well,
you were among some people that were breaking into my apartment during the day to take naps in my bed.
At least I wasn't the
many
only
years
one.
later, and I was like, it's fine. It's fine. That building doesn't exist anymore, so it's
Does it?
it's all
No.
good.
Yeah.
But I do miss that. That was a great apartment.
The whole college is very schizophrenic because, like, the rule where everything had to be built in the height. Well, first of all, don't follow rules given to you by a woman who walks into the woods as the last time you've seen her. Like, I believe that is the how Sophia Smith ends her. She just disappears into the woods, and she made the rule that all the buildings had to be built to the height of fashion at the time in which they're built, which is why you get that, like, the retro 60s egg chairs in some
Yeah.
places, and, like, some buildings make zero fucking sense.
No, Cutter-Ziskind. Like, you can't occupy them in the summertime because they basically become solar ovens, those rooms.
Mhm.
It's very,
Right.
very
Mhm.
curious.
That's right. Just a note
Super
to Smith
schizo.
College, they did, they knocked down that beautiful historic Green Street where you used to live,
Yeah,
Cape Paradise,
they
and
didn't
they put up a parking lot
I know.
or an
They
engineering
put an
building, really.
engineering building, yeah, and
Yep.
but, it wasn't this was not a this was not a house that was built by Smith College, they acquired it, I believe, for the land,
Yeah.
so
They did. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it
Yeah.
was like, there's still businesses there.
yeah.
There's actually there's a little ceramic studio
I
on what's left of
know,
Green Street.
obsessed. That would have made
Come on, friends.
Lauren's house that much more appealing.
Wow.
Yes. Also, let me just introduce, that's part of our like friend Venn diagram that like we all do ceramics.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Just saying.
No, I
Just
don't.
saying.
I have the nails now. I'm going through a nail
I know.
phase,
Yeah.
so
That's all right. It's
Okay.
your focus can be elsewhere and you can still be it in your heart. Do you know what I mean?
I know, it's still there.
I pointed it out in the Bad Boys episode, but I still think about this that, like, all of us have done a little acting, just different
Also.
degrees. And with auditions and acting, there's all of this, like, rejection and work before you get the final piece that you have to put in. And you may not even get the final piece, you still have to put in the work. And so when
Yeah.
you think about ceramics, it's a very similar
Mhm.
feeling. And I can see that's why, white actors would be drawn to ceramics. Like, oh, I'm used to this. Whereas a lot of people are like, wait, I have to do work and I might not get a product.
Yeah,
Right.
it's definitely not for those who are used to instant gratification. It's a lot of
Yeah.
I'm investing some time into this thing, and at the end of the day, it could look like a toilet seat, and that's just what we're gonna go with, and we're gonna plant plants in there
That's
one
right.
day.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
this is an actual
True.
thing.
True.
Yeah.
Good point.
I have seen, and I'm thinking about my favorite bong that I ever saw was uh, shaped to be like a ceramic toilet.
Oh.
So, like, it could be a toilet seat, but that's what you were going for.
I was going for, like, some sort of, like, floppy, like, amorphous shape with, like, folds and to, like, let cascading plants, you know, fall gently over the sides, and then, like, 3 weeks into it, I was like, "Oh, it looks like a bedpan." That's exactly what it is.
Oh,
Oh
But it was
no.
too far gone. I had already, like, bisque fired it, and I was just like, "I guess this is what we're doing." And, hey, I went through the process, and I definitely still planted those burrows tails in there, and they're
I bet
thriving.
it looks amazing.
It still looks like a toilet
yeah.
seat that I've it looks like I've
I
planted things in a bedpan. But it I'm
That's
hey,
poetic. That is
come
poetic.
and
It's
take it
good.
away
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
me. I don't care. I don't care.
Proud of you.
Very Georgia O'Keeffe.
Yeah.
Although Ari has been making cursed objects, so
Oh,
there's also
Jesus.
that.
That is true. Yeah, I'm still afraid to glaze that one piece because its little face keeps haunting
Let's
me
not.
every time
It's
I look
very
at.
haunting.
No, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about like you don't.
Burying it in your
The
yard.
ceramicist.
That's
Yeah, the ceramicist. That's the way to go. That's gonna definitely remove the curse and not spread it to my house.
It's gonna be in the house
Church.
after you finish burning. It'll be right on the table, right where you've started.
They
That's just your
say,
ADHD. You actually buried your glasses.
man, don't curse me like that, because that's gonna be so close to happening anyway. Yeah, they say you don't have to keep every single thing you make. You don't have to fire everything you bisque. But I can't do that. I won't do
No.
that. If it's bisqued, it's getting glazed because I need to see that thing to fruition. I will say, once I glaze it, I might throw it away because it is that creepy. Yeah.
If it's that creepy, I'll take it. I'll love it. I'll be like,
God,
oh, little reject soul.
exactly. I might give it to my little goth employee who's just super excited about things that are freaky looking.
Oh yeah, there's a
Totes.
market.
But if they don't,
Mhm.
KT, you also have a number of
Hey.
cursed objects. If we want to talk about your cursed object collection too, I think a lot of
Possibly
people are
cursed
interested in that.
dreams. I don't know.
Yeah, did you ever find
It's
where the
either
music box sound was coming from?
we have torn down the third wall in that room partially
Of the curse.
because the wall started to melt.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
the
What do
wall
you mean?
the
Oh,
the wall that I
stop.
was painting where the little child's handprint appeared while I was
Yeah,
painting in the fresh paint,
yeah.
that wall, the paint started to, like, just melt off of it for no reason. Um, it's water let's go with water damage. It's water damage. So we've
Okay.
started, taking that wall down, and we haven't found anything yet. Um that's where the music box noise comes from. The most recent thing that I think is the weirdest was that all of the things that could produce an alarm went off at the same time. It was like 11:25 at night. I know because I was in the middle of talking to someone and watching TV. So the power did not go out because I experienced the time between it happening and the time after it happened. Uh all of the clocks reset themselves to midnight and set an alarm off, and it was so like a whole body, like, emotional vomit to have that much noise all of a sudden in my, like, neurodivergent life. I was just like, so loud." And my favorite was that an alarm from upstairs in the attic, where I don't believe that there are clocks or alarms, started going off, and I just let that baby run itself. I was like, "Huh, well, I can put some earplugs in and I will not invite the evil in."
Oh
That's the right move.
my God.
That's
Yeah,
What
gonna
your
walk
listeners are
around and
hearing
say hi.
now is me almost throwing up. That sounds so
right.
scary. Yeah,
Ugh.
I think I might actually perish. I can confirm you have pictures of the little kid's handprint. You have a
Mhm,
recording
and
of the
recording
music
of the
box.
music box too.
But you're not even gonna mention the gravestone?
Oh God, I forgot about the
Well,
gravestone.
yeah, the gravestone and the light that appears as well seem to be
Ew.
related.
Oh,
Because there's a light that appears in the backyard and kind of floats and moves around, but can't be accounted for, and it seems to originate where Scott found the gravestone that he decided to
no,
move, which is my
no.
favorite thought there, because he's the guy in every horror movie. He makes up excuses for every single thing that happens, like when his unplugged, turned off radio turned on and started playing music. He was like, "Oh, yeah, it's Wi-Fi synced to my, phone, and it was playing Pandora because I forgot I had an alarm for midnight on Pandora, and it runs on batteries." It's like, "That's not a feature of Pandora. This is too old for oh, you son of a bitch."
No,
But he found a gravestone and decided to bring it to the house.
Yeah,
It's up against the back of the house.
we did a Google search on it, and it looks like it's from the Civil War,
eh,
and
It's
it's
too old
too
to fully read. It's so worn
and
down.
or do a rubbing of. There's
that's
like
like
there's nothing to rub
Mhm,
off, like, but you
mhm.
can't. There's no information on it, and what we did find was that it might be like a Civil War land marker,
yeah.
like a property boundary,
Mhm.
but it also definitely looks like a human being's grave.
It could be a grave, like a ceremonial grave, like the guy died in the Civil War,
Yeah,
so they just put this grave in the house backyard to be like, "If you
Right,
wanna,
like a memorial,
say hi," a memorial. Yeah, all of
right,
these
if you will.
fun things.
Whatever it
but
is, maybe just like chuck it back out in the woods, babes.
or just don't
Just
Drag it back to where the light is.
touch it ever. Put a little
Mhm.
fence around it, maybe.
Yep, yep,
Leave little
yep. Like
offerings just to, I don't know.
every anime ever says that light will give you a quest if you get too close to it. So maybe just like
Yeah,
put the gravestone back and you don't get the
I feel
quest.
like this is a
You're
great
good.
move.
Yeah.
and, we're not talking about the
Ugh.
fact that the house was a church for a period of time.
Yeah, that's right. And
for
not just like
defunct
any
version
church.
of Christianity.
Not just any church, though. There's a very special
Not
room.
just any
There's
church.
a very special room.
Right.
Yeah.
That
And you have a
Well,
pulpit
yeah.
in your living room. You have like a two-story pulpit in the middle of your house.
pulpit,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
a sink.
And with
We know what's happening.
well, and there's a piece of wood on the pulpit that has a printed out piece of Latin that has been nailed to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just left there, like, hey, here you go. And I translated it, and it's like a blessing on the house to keep it from being cursed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like maybe just like touch that up a little. I don't know. Just touch
I
it
was
up.
thinking get rid of the Latin protection, just so my mom, who is Druid, and my sister both have big feels about this. My sister just wants to research and find out more and more and more, and
Yeah.
she loves all of it. And my mom is like, the second you engage with ghosts, you don't invite them in, just ignore it. And that's why when the alarms went off, I was like, no, I'm not inviting anybody in. I'm just going to put some earplugs in. I'm just going to.
I think that's some good
long suffering.
Solid.
That's the Native American way to do it. To just sort of don't look and don't acknowledge it. If you hear whistling, no, you didn't. If you hear someone calling your name, you did not.
I'm ferberizing my ghosts. And just let them scream it out.
There you go.
Yeah.
There it is. Just be a gentle parent.
Exactly. Getting a little bit more back on topic. I have been doing this thing with guests that I think is kind of helpful in the front half, and I'd like to try it here again. I want to ask you guys to, it doesn't have to be like a hard top 3, but 3 favorite movies or 3 movies that you feel like really describe you. You are always willing to watch them. You're big stands of those movies.
Ooh.
I know. This is a tough question.
I knew this question was coming, and I still. Yeah, it's like a Wheel of Fortune moment where I'm like, it could be so. We could say so many things.
3 films.
And people feel like they're going on record, and they're like, I have to get it right. Like, yeah, just throw it out there.
For me,
go for it.
You want to go first, Sarah?
No, go for it.
You want to order first?
You order first.
I know what I want. The first film that I can think of that I can always watch is a Miyazaki film called The Secret Life of Arielle.
Ooh.
It's stunning. It's beautiful. I'm a big fan of cottagecore animation. I think Miyazaki's films are absolutely stunning. For me, The Secret Life of Arielle is probably the easiest of those films to watch because it has it's a very simple plot that everybody knows. It's the secret garden mixed with the borrowers. That's it. And it's very relatable. It's an hour and a half long. I absolutely love it. Right? Exactly. I can always watch Oh Brother Art Thou. But I really, that's because I have been singing those songs for years and I'll never get over it. Third, I'm going to say for me, it's The Usual Suspects.
Oh, I did.
Oh, the episode we just did.
That's right. Yeah, which I listened to and I loved. Very well done. And that's actually what made me revisit that movie again and realize how much I love it. And it will actually, if I had to watch like a film, but that's not like an animated film for children, which is my usual go-to genre. I would say that's a stand for me. It's held up over the except for the inclusion of Kevin Spacey. If history had not proved him to be such a predator, then that would have been great.
Yeah, and I mean, Bryan Singer, the director, also wound up being a sexual predator. It's got a double knife on it. But the guy who wrote the script, which is what it is lauded for and won Oscar for, is not, and he still deserves to have credit for this wonderful film. Like the ending always gives me goosebumps.
Well, then I'm gonna asterisk mine, and I'm gonna break the rules a little, and I'm gonna say that the other thing that I can always watch is the entire series of Over the Garden Wall.
Which you got me to watch with you.
I
Truly
haven't seen
stunning.
that.
Another animated piece that is beyond animation, and I hate that people treat animation as though it needs to be asterisked.
Exactly. Thank you. I appreciate that, and
That's lovely.
I'm a hard stand for that. And Sarah,
Yeah.
we're gonna watch it the next time we see each other.
Obviously, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited about that.
Yeah.
Mm,
It's delightfully creepy.
I love
Nice
that.
project.
It's so good.
There you go. I passed the ball to you.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like Moonstruck is like the film. That is like
Sure.
Mhm.
foundational. I can always
Mm.
watch it. I'm always ready to pull out a
Oscar
quote.
winning.
There's always a Moonstruck quote for every
Mhm.
occasion. I love it.
True.
And then I also love The Big Lebowski. I'm a big
Oh,
Yes,
film.
that's my top.
I love it.
oh my
I
god.
love it, I love it. It makes me
Yes.
so happy, and it has I love, this sounds so silly, but, like, I love a film with, like, a message greater than, like, the silliness happening on the ground. Um,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
and, if anybody, asterisk side note, the Fargo series that now it's
Oh
Warner
god,
Brothers are
yes.
not, I believe, but,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
there are some,
Mm.
elements of, other past movies. There's like a nihilist moment in the recent series of Fargo. It's fantastic, and I love
It's fantastic.
Mm.
it. I love it.
God, I'm so glad you said that.
Mhm.
Yes.
So Big Lebowski,
Yes.
that's so Moonstruck, Big Lebowski, and now I have two roads diverge. The roads diverge here. I might do like an asterisk one. Um,
Mm.
We could do top
Top
4.
4.
Top
Okay,
I
4.
think
thank
She
it's
you.
put
fair.
in a
Makes
4th.
me
That's
feel much
fair.
better.
Yeah, she
I
put in a
would have to
4th.
say the next one is Sister Act. I fucking love.
Oh
Oh!
yes!
I mean,
Such a good choice.
I
and
love Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yes.
There's some singing in it. We also did that
Mm.
show choir. We did the Sister Act medley, and
Yes.
it is near and dear to my heart.
Yes. Great.
And so
Mm.
freaking funny. The comedic timing, everything.
Mhm.
The second one is not as good,
Mm.
but the first one is. But I still love singing
Magic.
along to that. For Sister Act,
Yes.
10 out of 10. We'll always watch it. And then,
Yes.
the one that has stuck with me for a really long time is Adaptation. I really love
Ah,
Hey.
yes.
Adaptation, and it's
Kaufman, yeah.
so many things going on. Back to the twin theme, bringing it full
Yes.
circle.
Mhm.
That device using, I love the orchid thief element of it.
Mhm.
It's just a beautiful movie, and it's so smart. And also Nick Cage. We're doing a Moonstruck and an Adaptation, and it's two very different Nick Cages in both of them, but also
Yeah.
just like
Mm.
quintessential Nick Cage, maybe.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's really it's
Very essence of Cage.
essence of Cage, and it's so easy to kind of like when you think about Nick Cage, he's like a punchline, but like and I still think he's like
Mm.
goofy as hell, but like he is a compelling. He's a fantastic actor. He's great at what he does.
Wait, do you remember did you watch The Simpsons a
Oh
lot as a
yeah,
kid?
Yeah.
So the Troy McClure character, they're like, "You might remember me
yeah,
from such films."
yeah.
And his, like, weird sexual, like, desire for fish that they allude to,
I forgot.
that is based on Nicolas Cage in real interviews he gave during the Moonstruck filming, in which he was
No.
obsessed with his shark pet and his tortoise pet, and he kept saying, like, "If you wanna see a picture of a really attractive, like, sexy tortoise, I have one in my wallet right now." I love him. He is, like, total chaotic.
Chaos.
Total chaos monster. I just saw him in Mandy as well, which is another he gives his all to every single thing he is in, and he chooses pieces based on what he
Yeah,
wants, not what
Raising
will
Arizona.
sell.
Good thing.
national treasure.
Superb.
Yes.
Superb. Everything he does.
I
God,
love
Great
that.
choices. Great choices.
Oh my god. Great
great,
choices all
great
around.
choices.
Yeah. Now I have to go back and watch Sister Act.
So what I'm hearing from all of this is a common theme particularly between the both of you, that you tend to prefer, well, we've got Coen brothers on both sides, so that's an easy, great choice. But you've also got Oscar winners for their scripts on both sides. And the Coens are very much known for their writing, to the extent that like every line that is delivered in a Coen Brothers movie is as written, or it needs to be redone. They will not allow any ad-libbing. You deliver the script as you are sold it. So, and a lot of nihilism choices with Over the Garden Wall. That's a really nihilistic choice there, and adaptation as well. What we have here with Spaceman is an exception to what I feel like what you normally get with Adam Sandler, in that it is a more character-driven, script-driven, nihilistic story than most of his films. Most of the complaints from people, Spaceman is really a 50-50. People liked it or they didn't like it. Most of the complaints is that it is not action spacey enough, and it is more about nihilism and the characters themselves. And I'm wondering, like, how do you feel about that?
I think nihilism is an interesting thing to kind of think about and like have a film about, because and it shows up
Mhm.
in Big Lebowski. Like it's a big element of that too.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's kind of, it's kind of a funny element in Big Lebowski of the we believe in nothing, but it's
Yes.
also like a really, I relate to that at this point in my life too. Like, what is there to believe in? Like, things are pretty. We've lived a life. There's hopefully a lot more to live with it, but like,
Mhm.
what is worth believing in? And it's also a very personal thing too, about what like when you strip everything back, when you don't when you're kind of left to your own devices, like what is that thing to believe in that anchors you to like the person that you are, or the person that you want to be, or the world that you want to make for yourself. And so and that usually can kind of bring you into like a really, I mean, how could it not bring you into a contemplative place? And I think
Mhm.
I literally know nothing about Spaceman yet, which is a great place to kind of,
Which is how we want it.
because I can
Yeah.
imagine like the what I do know about it is like, yeah, there's nothing but the time to think about what is anchoring this person, and like in
Mhm.
a in space where there's not a lot of, anchors to be had to gravity, or to your
Mhm.
planet, or to your other
Mhm.
people in your
Time.
species, to time.
Mhm.
So I'm really interested in how what the conversation is going to be.
Mhm. Absolutely. What about you, Ari?
Well, I watched almost half of it.
Yes, you are, like,
Sure.
halfway between your straddling. Well, how do you feel about nihilism? It is
Oh,
sadder than I think
that's
a
right.
lot of
Okay.
people are ready for, but it is hopeful. It is very hopeful.
So I feel like eh, as a consistent theme in movies that we like to watch, it's approached in multiple different ways and therefore gives us lots to think about. So
Mhm.
I think in The Big Lebowski, it is a little tongue in cheek and sort of introduces us to the idea that believing in nothing can be funny, but also
Mhm.
in in a situation like we're expecting in The Spaceman, there's the idea of believing in nothing to me takes on a different form, because if you have nothing to believe to ground yourself in your belief, your mind can go anywhere, right?
Mhm.
But also, if we take it literally, I believe in nothing, is that not like almost a scientific statement? If you're hurling through space, what is space? Just a bunch of nothing. If you believe in that, that's that could be your
Can
direction.
observe it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like, hey man, just like believe in nothing, man. Like float through space, dude. But I feel like, that that's definitely a perspective that comes up for me.
Mhm.
I think in general, this yeah, this movie was not what I was expecting.
So far.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm ready to come at it with a different viewpoint and level of acceptance, where I was like, I have to be, I don't know, like I have to be in the right emotional space in order to see a movie as entertainment and not as work. And,
Mm.
like, I'm not always ready for emotional work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's why a lot of my entertainment preferences tend to be animated because
Hmm.
there's not,
Yeah.
although let's not discount Steven Universe and things like that. Paranormal
Mhm.
Park that actually goes
Mhm.
deep into how you feel, and animated, features
Oh
can
yeah,
really be a great educational tool in terms of your emotional development. Side note.
and can be deeply nihilistic and deeply adult. I mean, you simply need to jump to something like Perfect Blue to be like, that is not for kids,
Right.
and you're gonna have hard feelings about it at the end. It's gonna be an intense watch.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly. Skip
yeah,
to the episode where you and I watched The Emperor's New Groove. I just cannot wait.
I can't wait for that as well.
I know, for like,
Somebody else got me. I have Jared on talking about Goonies, and
yeah.
we're talking about he's only 2 years younger than I am, and I'm talking about how essential you couldn't be a kid and not see Goonies. And he starts to tell me that there's a movie for his group of kids. Like there's another jump, and I'm like, "What movie is it?" And he goes, "The Goofy movie." Have either of you seen it?
No, but I know of it. I remember it what?
I've never seen it, so we're gonna do an episode where I sit down with Jared and we talk the Goofy movie. So
All right.
there, there's gonna be some weird episodes coming
That
out.
Well,
I did
that's
not expect that to
amazing.
come out of your mouth.
No.
They did a special showing out at a famous theater in LA, and it sold out in 5 minutes online.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
So
That's
Jeez, we're in the wrong business, y'all. We should be selling tickets to this movie
oh my
at the
god.
table.
to this
Just saying.
movie.
Yeah.
Uh,
Although I bet if somebody showed The Last Unicorn at like one of the theaters down the street, you can believe I would buy a ticket every day.
my
Damn straight I
my sister just got in touch with me a few weeks ago and was like, "They're showing The Labyrinth at 7 p.m. on Wednesday night. What are you doing? We're going."
we're
Ah!
going
Like,
in.
Oh
I
my
like The
god.
Labyrinth, but I have something to do that night, and also, like, why? And she was just like, "Oh." And it was like one of those moments where I was like, "Oh, she's dead serious about The Labyrinth. She's dead serious, and she really wants to see this." And I'm like, "I don't care. I've seen The Labyrinth like a million times. I don't need." And
Yeah.
she went and she
How do you get tired of David Bowie's
I
Patrick?
mean, let's say I will never get sick of seeing The Labyrinth. I just don't. I couldn't
Have the
sleep that
reverence.
night, and like, but I was so proud of her for like fangirling, and I was like, "Look at this
Yeah.
girl." Yeah.
Ah,
But
Yeah,
listen,
she has
stand what you gotta
more.
stand.
yeah, she did it, and I was
Laura
very
has
proud of her.
more.
Yeah, I'll say.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
I
amazing.
I did the thing and I actually looked up like what nihilism like the textbook
Ugh.
definition of nihilism just because I was like, I think I know what it is. But it's rejection of all religious and moral principles and belief that life is meaningless. And I think that like yeah, I kind
Yeah.
of like had that concept of it, but it's also like the rejection of that values are baseless. And so it's like how
Mm.
like what is a system like what does it mean when you think that like values are just a stupid construct of humans and like
Yeah,
you're free
mhm,
anchoring it, you're not, there's nothing happening. So
mhm.
yeah, I think that
And
reframes it
yeah.
a little bit for me, but it's still I think
I I think some people mistake nihilism and anarchy for
yes.
each other.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You do get a lot of anarchists out of nihilistic beliefs. It does
Mm,
create a very chaotic person where you're just like, if everything is meaningless, then I can do whatever I want without repercussions.
right.
It's like, well, that's a bigger jump. It's kind of like the rejection of magical realism, which I think a lot of people have in their lives. Like,
Mhm.
if I do X, I'll get Y, you know?
Mhm.
Sure.
This um, but focusing a little bit closer to the episode, I wanted because I have to backpedal a little bit here. I wanted to open up the can of worms, which is kind of the reason we're looking at Spaceman, which is that it stars Adam Sandler and he's doing something really dramatic. He's also playing a character that is not effusive. Usually, even when he does something dramatic, he's yelling a lot, and he's angry, and he's big, and he's rage-filled. This is, like, subtle in his performance, and a lot of people really hate Adam Sandler, don't want to like him in anything. They don't want him to be dramatic. They don't want him to be comedic. They don't want him in their life. And fun fact, he is the highest paid successful actor of the year. Like, he made $73 million this year off of his many deals with Netflix. The only person who did even close was Margot Robbie, and I believe that she is not even actually that close. She made 59, he made 73.
Wow.
So we're talking about someone people love to hate but still succeeds. I had feelings about him. I know I hate him as a comedian, but have been seeing him in his more dramatic and thoughtful roles. And I see someone who is like trying to learn to act and doing a decent job at it. And so as an actor, I am just like, go, motherfucker, go. But how do you guys feel about him?
When you first approached me about having this conversation about Spaceman, you asked me what I thought about Adam Sandler movies, and I was like, my favorite Adam Sandler movies are Chris Farley movies. That like I automatically, yeah, like I just always like, oh yeah, I love Tommy Boy and things. And I'm like, oh no, that's actually not a Adam Sandler movie. But you know, I R.I.P. Chris Farley, we love you. But we
Yeah.
yeah, I am similarly like I I do not love the like type of humor that he brings to the table. I don't like his stupid baby voice that he does sometimes. But then I think about
Oh my God.
like grates on my nerves. I was looking up all of the ones that are on Netflix right now, and it's like Jack and Jill, where he plays his, two twins. One's a sister twin theme. But it's also ding. But and it's just like, why was this made? Like, it made me like viscerally angry. I clearly have never seen it. But then I think back to like The Wedding Singer. I loved him in that. And that was like a pretty like subtle
I do like
performance. He was being hurt, but it was so funny. It's a great movie. Really, really fun. We'll watch that anytime. And also like, gave us the Hanukkah song. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot to love there, but like, I feel like I think about him like at first blush, like resting on these like stupid gimmicks, and I just don't care. I just don't care, and I'd rather watch something else. But I am, we'll see. Like, I'll give this a go.
Yeah. I grew up watching Happy Gilmore more than once, like a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was part of the lexicon of my family to say, like, stop looking at me, Schwab. And making, stupid quotes from that movie. So there was a lot of like, I just sort of accepted that he was a comedic actor and that what he did was funny because it was like part of the culture of my family. But I have hated every single thing he has ever done. Truly. Other than that. Yeah. I really did not like The Wedding Singer, even when I was like a teenager and everybody else was all about it. I'm so sorry, you guys.
Be truthful, yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't get. I wasn't Adam Sandler specifically. It was like, who was his opposite in that?
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore. I just cannot get behind her. I'm sorry, I don't care for her acting style, and I think the two of them together, whatever. I've never really. I also feel like he relies on cheap gimmicks, and the baby voice kills me. I will say, I sang the Hanukkah song a lot, and I loved it. Yeah, and I got to give him props for that because he is. If you think about it, he is like he did music. He's done acting. He's pretty altruistic. I really respect the fact, like, as a human being, he still lives in a modest house and he dresses like a human being and he like doesn't live the like lavish, ridiculous celebrity life. There aren't stories about him like there are like I've never seen Adam Sandler at South by Southwest, but I saw Bill Murray slinging drinks at the bar next door and causing absolute chaos. Like,
oh, he is a chaos monster.
He is a chaos monster, exactly. But everybody loves him, and you have this like universal but like he's everybody's crazy uncle. Adam Sandler doesn't have that privilege, So I think he's taken a
Mm.
lot of heat in his artistic life, and probably with good
Yes.
reason.
Or he
Yeah.
practices with boundaries. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever it is, he seems to have. Um, I feel like we've watched him grow up in almost a Truman Show sort of way, of like we
Mhm.
saw his early stupid shit. We watched him go through these
Mhm.
trial and tribulations and like try to be the leading man or try to be the funny guy and try some serious roles. And maybe now this sort of proves the fact that he can be really financially successful doing
Mhm.
adult work as an adult. And it's kind of
Mhm.
nice to see someone. I think it's like as if Tom Green had suddenly won an Oscar, and you're like, wasn't he the worst person ever in the 90s? Like, wasn't he just
Yes.
insufferable? And all of a sudden now look at the art he's creating that we all as adults can appreciate. And I feel like if we take away the fact that it's Adam Sandler, like this development is kind of interesting and respectable. Not that I feel
Yes.
like this is the finest piece of cinema I'm ever gonna see. It's no Moonstruck,
No. No.
you know,
No.
but
Good luck.
also, yeah, set the bar high. Reach for the
That's
moon, struck.
amore. There can only be one.
Well, that one got picked on on this show because what was picked was an entire genre.
Mm,
So declaring that all of rom-coms, that's a big net. You can pick like, oh, we'll pick the best of the best. When you're
yeah,
kind of focusing more in on an actor, you're going to be like, this is the best in their body of work. They have not yet won an Oscar for something.
sure.
Although, if you guys ever saw Funny People, I think that is the most accurate representation of probably what it was like to be Adam Sandler for a period of time, and
Mm,
is incredibly, like, difficult to watch in that it is so real and sad and
Mhm.
nuanced, but, like,
mm,
worth your time as well.
It's like he almost picks, like, polar opposite movies. It's, like, stupid and goofy
Mhm.
or, like, it's like
Mhm.
you've made a decision to watch a movie, and it's gonna be
Mm.
kinda rough to get through it. So it's like homework movie versus, like, "Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, let's put, like, this stupid movie where, you know, he's gonna be a
Mhm.
rageful golf player." I don't know what Happy Gilmore is about.
Yeah. And the interesting thing there with the emotionally difficult ones or the, like, homeworky ones is that you will wind up thinking about them again and again
Mhm.
later on in life, versus the, like, popcorny ones. The ones that are the best for me are, like, Moonstruck, where you find that middle ground between it was a little popcorny at times, but also it really did reach me in a way that I keep thinking about it.
yeah,
If I had to venture to guess with Sandler, what I'm thinking is happening here is that he has a production house called Pie Productions, and in order to keep that going, you're gonna have to do a certain amount of those comedies every year per your contract with Netflix, and then
sure.
you can do something like Spaceman, which is a gamble and doesn't really make any money. It's also a double hit in that Netflix original films are considered déclassés. Like they're always going to be garbage. No one likes a Netflix original film.
Mhm.
Although if you stop and look at the Netflix original film list, it does have some like really freaking intense. It has All Quiet on the Western Front and A Marriage Story on it. Those are Oscar-winning films, but it does
Well,
also have like The Ridiculous Six and like Maestro and like some of these like I can't believe those movies got made movies. So people want to say that this movie was came out and people were like it sucks, and I'm like it didn't even come out yet.
Yeah.
No one even watched it.
Also, like, it's definitely this, like, also shift in, like, who's producing media now? Like, it's not the big movie houses,
Mhm,
it's not just or the production
mhm,
companies or these, like, noted producers. It's like, yeah, it's shaking it up, and it's so easy to see, like, something being like, "Oh, this went, like, straight to film," or like, "This went straight to streaming." Like, "This can't be good," but it's
mhm,
actually like, no, it's just not we're not seeing it in it doesn't have to go through these, like, stations of the cross to, like, be considered, like, a great film. It's like, it can just exist
mhm.
as itself, which is, like, the whole point of the medium, that it
Mm-hmm.
is a self-contained piece of art that it's like people can view at any
Yes.
time.
Good way to put it as well. I think that like maybe because when we grew up, straight to video was like the Olsen twin
Yeah,
movies and like Steve Gutenberg stuff. So we were like, "Oh, this is truly
yeah.
garbage." But like, it's a completely different media landscape. Why do people still kind of do this?
Yeah, and also, like, a lot of stuff that goes, like, straight into the movies are shit. Like,
Yeah.
I've recently started to go to this, like, Monday movie mystery night at, like, my local, like, Regal cinema,
So
where
cool.
you go,
Love
like,
that.
you see
So
something that's
cool.
gonna come out in, like, 2 or 3 weeks. You don't know what you're gonna see. I'm always terrified it's gonna be a scary movie because 'cause I'm a wimp, and I don't do that. And,
Yep.
like, I have seen it's, like, incredible. And we're like, "This is gonna
I
come
would
out
do that all the time.
3 weeks." It's great, and it's $5. It's wonderful. Thank you, Regal.
Yeah.
And we see people walk out all the time. It's really funny, but it's, like, low stakes, but it's also, "What are you doing? Like, where are
Yeah.
you going?
You're not here to gamble. Don't play your
$5?"
cards.
Like, unless it's, like, terrible, but it's really leveled the playing field in my head because I'm just like, "Oh, yeah." Like, it doesn't mean anything that a movie is, like, in the theaters. It's, like, they have a
Right.
good distribution. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, and, like, there's that movie that's about to come out where Godzilla and King Kong are buddy cops, and they have to, like, fight the Pacific Rift, and, like,
Wow.
there's at one point where they basically, like, fist bump and then run at the screen, and you're just like, "What the fuck am I watching?
Yeah,
Oh my
This is gonna
god.
come out?"
yeah,
That sounds like a spoof, like AI written
yeah,
and animated.
I
yeah. Mhm,
didn't have to
mm.
pay any actors 'cause there are no lines.
That's right.
So, as we wrap up here, before we send you guys to watch the movie, what are you possibly looking forward to maybe finding? And what are you a little bit like, God, I hope it doesn't happen?
I'm looking forward to seeing how like, I'm actually looking forward to, like, the set and, like, how they're kind of constructing the environment. I always really love
Mm.
seeing, like, how that like, what
Mhm.
the mood is that they're
Yes.
constructing. I love, like, the
Mhm.
texture and the lighting and things like that, so I'm interested in that. I I'm worried about it just, like, long, pregnant, silent pauses of just looking at, like, extreme close-ups of people's faces and, like,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
waiting till the tears, like, well up in their eyes, like, it's
To like an increasing crescendo of a soundtrack.
or, like, not e just, like, white noise maybe, I don't know. It's just like,
Yeah.
I know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right.
It's just an interesting lens to look at the movie through. I can't imagine it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen so much that I'm like, "Oh, shit," right now, but it obviously is going to happen. That has to happen at one point.
yeah,
Yeah.
I will say that if you're interested in the set, it does have an amazing set, and 100% of Adam Sandler's acting is done while suspended in a rig, and that is an exceptionally painful thing to do for as long as it takes to make a movie. So kudos to him for doing that.
like, actually, like,
Oh,
doing the loop where, like, he's, like
Yeah, he's in wires.
oh,
He's in
sh
suspended
wow.
wires because
whoa,
he's in 0 G for the entire time, so he will always be suspended from shoulders and hips.
that sounds pukey.
That's
Bless.
wow. It's not yeah, that
Bless.
sounds like he's gonna need some massage therapy.
Or a hot tub.
Or a
Or a
hot
hot
tub.
tub. Outdoor inflatable hot tub. This episode brought to you by Coleman Outdoor Inflatable Hot Tubs, available on Amazon today.
Please give us some.
Please sponsor us.
Send us each one.
Make an urban version.
So, Ari, what about you?
I am not looking forward to panoramic shots that make me feel dizzy, like constant spinning. Um, yeah, where I feel like I'm in a gyroscope. That's what I expect when something is shot fully in space, quote unquote, in space.
Mhm.
I feel like the camera is never going to stop moving and I might throw up. Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing the subtle nuances of Adam Sandler's acting ability. Um,
Mhm.
I would also say I dread a little bit poorly executed CGI,
Oh, yeah.
which I think is a
Ah,
general fear as well. but also something
Always,
that's set
always.
entirely in space.
Mhm. I will throw it out there that I don't know if Sarah knows this, and I'm not going to spoil too much of it, but I will say that Paul Dano is in this movie and is an amazing actor in everything that he does. So you will get more than Adam Sandler. You will also get Paul
Okay.
Dano.
I do like Paul Dano.
Right.
Is Carrie Mulligan in it too? There's a face
Oh,
in
yeah.
it.
She is also in this. Yes,
Yes, I
yes,
like
she
her
plays
too.
the wife.
Yeah.
She brings it hard in everything she does.
I will
Best
say
part of Maestro, easily.
I have a new fear that's been unlocked too that I might if there I swear to God, if there is like an alien element in it of like an alien somehow appears in it, like I don't know. That might be like a deal breaker for me if like there's an alien character that
Ah.
comes into it. I don't know. If it's corny like AI, like what was that AI? Where they're like, oh yeah, there are aliens here, and they're like these CGI sparkle beings, and you're like, I don't know.
Oh god! That was the top movie for, my guest on Goonies, and he loved the sparkle. They are, spoiler alert for the end of artificial intelligence, they are supposed to be other artificial intelligence. They are other
Oh,
robots.
oh, I got it. I got it. That's one movie I actually
Yeah.
cannot watch because I cry too hard at it. It just like really strikes a chord, and like I've watched it once, and it's like all I can do in my lifetime to like never see it.
It's your requiem for a dream. You're
Yeah,
done. It's too
Oh
much.
God.
My body empties of all the tears. It's so much.
Mm.
Weird.
Yes.
Not a
Oh,
good
yeah.
movie. I don't yeah.
No, I hear that.
Alright, alright. Well, these are interesting things. These are very interesting things to bring in. You know, we're gonna go in, we're gonna watch the movie. We'll come back and we'll we'll see how we fare. Again, I don't do this with the like, we're gonna win, we're gonna love this movie. Like it's a complex movie. There's a lot of things going into liking it and not liking it. And if you do not like it, don't have to pretend that you did. That's also totally interesting to unpack why you didn't like it
Mhm.
if you didn't
Yeah.
like it as per the show. Some people are taking this show as it's like a competition and it's me versus them, and I'm gonna break you and make you like a thing you hate. And they're like, you can't change me as an individual. And I'm like, it's not about any of those things.
But what if I don't like it?
What if you don't like it? Then you watch the movie you didn't like. It's not that
Well, no,
bad.
no,
You'll live, kid.
We'll live.
I
We'll get over
I guess I'll survive.
it.
I don't understand. Why commit to a promise if it can readily be broken? What purpose does such a commitment serve?
Are you creating these thoughts?
No. These are your thoughts. I am simply finding them with you.
We're back from the break, and we have Ari and Sarah, and they have just watched Spaceman. So let's get into it and see how they liked it. Ladies, welcome back.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. I guess we could just jump right on in. Yes, no? Did you like it?
Sarah, I'll let you go.
It's like I did like it. I did like it. It's a really weird movie. And like I have a lot of questions and observations about it,
Mm-hmm.
but overall, I got through it. I was eager to get through it. And I watched it with like I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed watching it. So like, I don't think I would have watched it had I not had an assignment to watch it. But, overall, yeah. Yeah, I liked it.
All right. Ari.
No, I did not.
Okay, fair. Absolutely. 100% fair. All right.
Full stop. There were
Full stop.
multiple things. I enjoyed moments in it.
Mhm.
There were things I liked about it, but overall, I would never have watched this again. I would never have watched it had I not been asked to.
Yeah.
Nor will I ever watch this movie again.
I will say, I will never watch this movie again. Like, I do not wanna it is not going in any sort of rotation.
No.
Oh, yeah.
And I think yeah, and it's definitely one of those things that there are aspects of it that I really liked, and overall, I thought it was an interesting movie. but I will also like there is nothing to pull me back into to seeing it again.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of movies that I liked, but I wouldn't rewatch. Rewatchability isn't necessarily the like base of me liking a movie or not. And then of course there are movies like Requiem for a Dream that you can really totally appreciate, but never want to put yourself back into. Would you guys say that it is more of you don't want to be put back into the state of watching this movie, or you don't want to experience the narrative again?
Yes.
Both.
Okay.
Yes.
Say more
Also,
words.
I do not want to experience the cinematography of this movie again. And this is my teaser, is that this movie made me throw up.
Oh.
Ooh,
So
yeah,
I got
girl.
extremely dizzy. I got really uncomfortable. I had to pause it. I had to look away. Almost every scene is rotating in some way.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize why I felt like I was getting sick. I thought I had eaten something bad. And then 3/4 of the way through the movie, I had to pause it and go relieve myself. And it literally did. It made me go throw up. So I would never watch this movie again.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I have notes, but my notes include number 1, dizzy, so much spinning.
Yeah. I think what they were trying to establish with the cinematography is that they had the actor in a rig, so there were wires everywhere, and they wanted to show you that 3D, that they could do that without interacting and hitting the wires.
I think that's wonderful. And I do appreciate the fact that Adam Sandler put himself into a rig for the entirety. Like, as a person with acting experience, I also understand how difficult that was. And I watched his performance with a lot of interest because I've never seen him in a serious role. And one of my notes here says, never seen Adam Sandler cry before. And that actually really touched me a lot, that he is willing to go from like Billy Madison to Spaceman and really show us what a character who's pretty much unable to feel feelings and then begins to feel feelings. And that is such an interesting journey. And I thought that was really where my interest in this movie lies. That like that, and the fact that they say Nutella is for soothing.
Yes, tastes like home.
Tastes like home. Yeah, and I really loved that like humanizing association, and really appreciated the fact that this movie was set also outside of the United States. That it's a Czech cast. Characters are Czech. The scenes on the ground are in Czechoslovakia, or the wherever it is. Czech Republic, rather. Thank you. Can we just edit out the fact that I didn't know what year it is?
100%. You're just gonna get it right on that first thing. Here, you know what? Just deliver the line correctly, and I'll just edit.
Perfect. Ready? Here we go. In Czechoslovakia. No.
Leave it in. Leave it all in.
All right.
Cannot be helped.
Cannot edit this out. In all fairness, it is based on a Czech Republic, not Czechoslovakia. Based on a Czech Republic book, The Spaceman of Bohemia by, Yaroslav is the guy's first name? Let's see, I have it written down.
Yeah.
Yaroslav Kalfar.
Ooh, that's a
beautiful name.
And beautiful. Yeah. One of the things that I liked most about the movie was the set. I was immediately kind of drawn into he was giving you so many context clues to kind of begin this whole thing. Like, space is anonymous. We know that you're in space, but it is also, the style of the buttons, the style of, the yellowy, greeny tones, the way that everything feels like very engineered. It all kind of feels like a prototype almost, in space. And so, my note was like, good set details, really looks like a mid-early 90s technology setup. It really kind of paints the picture of the situation that basically grounding in what scenario on Earth is this thing in space a part of.
Right.
And it did not feel American for some reason. It felt very like
Yeah.
very, very, you know, militaristic.
True to the Czech Republic.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
yeah, and it felt like
Slavic.
Eastern Bloc, Soviet
Yeah.
Bloc,
Mhm.
Yep.
in it, yeah.
I want to ask you both a really important question regarding that aspect of the film. To speak to, obviously, the novel was written with the people being Czech, so that's why they did it.
Mhm.
Also, besides America and Russia, they're the first country to send anybody successfully into space. So it
Right.
would be like if you weren't going to go with America and you weren't going to go with Russia, you should go with the Czech Republic because it is the most reasonable place to have had it happen. And it explains the Korea goes as well, but they send multiple
Right.
people. Why does the Czech Republic send one? So that they can get there first. They're
Mhm.
making these kind of like concessions to try and get there first.
Right.
Carrie Mulligan, supposed to be Czech. Adam Sandler,
Mhm.
supposed to be Czech. And to a lesser degree, I guess Isabella Rossellini, supposed to be Czech. Adam Sandler seems to be the only person attempting an accent. Other two not. A lot of people
Yeah.
flame Sandler for attempting that accent and did
Really?
not flame the other two actors for not even trying. What are both of your thoughts on that?
I honestly hadn't even noticed that he was doing any sort of accent here.
Very
Huh.
subtle.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was part of the writing. It seemed like it was more the way that his lines were written, like
The
the
syntax. Yeah.
cadence. Yeah, the syntax
Yeah.
and the cadence of his lines. And that seemed like, to me, like a device to show that he was not American and
Mm-hmm.
that this was set in
Yeah.
the Czech Republic. That like
Yeah.
that it wouldn't have seemed right if he had used his like very clearly American, like,
His
yeah, kind of
Big
like
Daddy
broad
voice. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought also that was him like refining himself into the role and really speaking in the manner that like any actor would change their vocal pattern to match the role. Like that doesn't
Mhm.
it didn't read untrue to me. I will say I did not appreciate Carrie Mulligan. Who was the wife?
Carey Mulligan.
Carrie
Yeah.
Mulligan. Yeah, I did not. I do not like her as an actor, and
Oh,
I'm
hot
so
take.
sorry.
Oh,
Hot take.
Yeah, I don't. I think she has
yeah.
2 faces, and both they're both they don't say anything to me. One is like a snide smile, and the other is like a frown, and neither one is really here nor there. And I'm sorry to publicly critique somebody else's acting in such a
Yeah.
cruel way, but I do feel like if I see her in a movie, I do not want to watch it.
Huh. Wow.
All
I
right.
really don't. I
High
don't believe any part of
praise.
her performance, and to be honest, it was annoying. My notes say I wish she had more than one. I annoyed Linka didn't have any more to say that wasn't cryptic or insinuation, but that's not obviously not the actor's fault. That was a critique of the character as well.
Mhm.
But I felt
Mhm.
like her character said nothing and gave me nothing. And I'm the fact that the movie was about them trying to connect through the vastness of space, why her? Why him? His reaction was whatever. What a dick. I didn't appreciate their relationship in the way that I think the
Yeah.
movie wanted me to.
Mhm.
So there's a very good
Yeah,
point
this
as
is a
well.
very
So
yeah.
this brings up a point of why people didn't like this movie and why some people like this movie. Of all the things you should believe of her performance, she is actually pregnant in those scenes. So you should believe that she's pregnant.
Oh.
So she's
Sure.
not acting
Did
up.
I have no issue with that. And in fact, I actually loved the scenes where she was in the pool,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
scene where she's at like the Lamaze class or whatever, where she's doing like
Mhm.
extreme gymnastics with all the other pregnant ladies, but it's so quiet.
Can I pretend to be pregnant and go to that place?
Right?
Because, like, man,
Yeah.
like, what a palace
And
Well,
for
what a
pregnant ladies.
subtle what a subtle commentary on American maternity care.
Oh,
That
yeah.
the Czech Republic offers this beautiful sanctuary
mhm.
where women are supporting each other. And it's not even really commented on, it's just sort of there. And that's what I appreciated about the setting of this movie is it wasn't like a in your face, look, we're set in the Czech Republic. It was like it was just there. That's just the world. And it was just
Mhm.
as it is.
Yeah.
It wasn't belabored.
I liked yeah, that was spot culture and just kind of like these retreats are just a part of Czech culture, and it's hard to like wrap your head around how, you know, just a given that idea of like restoration is. I was a server with a Czech woman that we got pretty close, and she would tell me about these spas in the countryside that the doctor would just prescribe for you to go to these spas, and they would be in like beautiful like flower fields and stuff, and it was like, yeah, you just go there when
Okay.
you know you're
Okay.
getting over something, you've gone through like a trauma, like you had a broken limb, and like you're starting like it was like, no, you just go there and you relax and you restore, and
Mhm.
it's just such
Mm.
a different idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, not a part of the movie.
No, but interesting.
So I wanted to ask you guys about the relationship between the two of them to get us back
Oh,
onto that comment.
Sure.
mhm,
The reason why was because I did watch this twice. The first time I watched it, I really hated her character, and I found her to be confrontational and obstructive, and why the fuck do I give a shit about these? But on the second watching, I realized that like we're in a really unique place for this particular couple. And I think that both of you, from our conversation before we hit record, will be able to kind of relate to this because you have people in your lives who are going through this. I won't call them out because
mhm,
it's not fair.
mhm,
But this is a couple that is not succeeding and is about to possibly break up. They don't want to be together. Karen Mulligan's character has been trying to talk to Adam Sandler's character for forever. We, the audience, haven't been there. So can we be mad that she's not talking now when she's finally made that boundary for herself and she's like, no, I'm done. I've been talking. You've always been quiet. It's your turn to talk. And if this is just going to be silence, then that's the answer that I get. So, like, I like that it's a more realistic portrayal of people in peril because I want to see them get together versus like a couple that is meant to be together. Of course, they're going to get back together at the end. They're meant for each other. It's
Mm-hmm.
perfect.
mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was frustrated with their relationship because it also, again, mirrors a lot of relationships that I see
Mm-hmm.
where it, you know, the communication for a long time was assumed.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was, oh, they're in relationship, therefore they communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then, when push comes to shove, when there's something to talk about or there's something to process or someone's in peril or someone is or they have to deal with separation over a time, it's like, or somebody is in crisis, like that's really the moments where you see like how has this relationship developed to kind of to scale to these, like when things are really really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, I was more frustrated with like the overarching arc of the movie, of like the revelation that ultimately Adam Sandler's character goes through, where it was just like, yeah, guy, like talk to her, communicate with her. Like you went through, you know, all of this stuff for like the obvious thing when she's just like, you need to talk to me. Like it doesn't, even if it's just the silence, like you need to be there. You need to be present. You need to be an active participant in this relationship because I'm a human and you are a human and we need things from each other. I was just like, I was really ultimately like, I kind of had to like laugh to myself at the end of the movie because I was just like, oh, humans, like
Yeah.
so freaking stupid. You had to like go through your like EMDR spider fever dream
Sorry.
to get to this place. Like you've only now, and I guess like my notes are all like EMDR spider Janusz like notes,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
it's, you know, he obviously was able to process these things in his life that are the reasons why he doesn't communicate or the reasons why he doesn't allow himself to have deep relationships with other people or to make connections or to be, empathetic or
Mm-hmm.
think outside of himself for what, you know, the
Mhm.
needs of others in his life.
Mhm.
So I, it was overall a really frustrating relationship, but I believed it because I
Mhm.
see this. This is like
Mm.
very, very common and, you know, human to kind of not have to see that kind of 10,000 feet view of a relationship when you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Ari, what do you think about that, the commentary on the relationship being so fraught?
I mean, I think it's Sarah's made a good point that, this is a very human situation, and that's why a movie is successful. I think is because it provides realistic touch points.
Mhm.
That doesn't make me like the acting anymore.
Mhm.
Like that makes me like the writing and the premise, and I would probably read the novel, but it doesn't mean that I enjoy watching the actor emote.
Mhm.
Yes. So it's really funny that we came to this for Adam Sandler being the unlikable actor, and you're like,
Mm.
actually, it's Carrie Mulligan, and I won't watch shit she's in. I'm fascinated by this as well.
I feel the same way about Maggie Gyllenhaal. I'm so sorry.
Don't feel bad about her. It's something about her lips, and I really like.
Yeah.
She's fine. The role she gets is fine, but there's something about the way that her lips move when she talks. It's a Backpfeifen gestickt, and I just
Mhm.
want to punch her. It's German
That's
for a
exactly
face
it.
that calls out for a fist.
A face that calls out for a fist. That is, yeah. I feel bad because that's again that's not her fault. That's just the way her face looks.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I feel like maybe I was tormented by somebody with Maggie Gyllenhaal's face in a former life. Like I
It's
don't know.
yeah, exactly. It's like when people who are afraid of circles because their ancestors came from that place on Earth where the poisonous octopuses are.
I have no idea
What?
what.
Oh, there's an actual phobia, like tryptophobia,
Mhm.
tryptophobia,
Yeah, the fear of many holes altogether.
fear of many holes, and they finally figured it out. They patterned all the people who have it, and then did their ancestry, and they all have a shared common lineage to the one place on Earth where the world's most poisonous octopus lives. The octopus is covered in little blue circular pattern. That's how you know to stay away from it.
Huh.
So it's a genetic shared memory.
So that is genetic generational trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And that's what it is. It was in an article about how trauma can be genetic.
Oh yeah, big time.
And I mean, they all survived because their ancestors picked up on this, and they're like, "I'm not fucking touch that." So it's interesting. In reading critiques of Spaceman, I noticed a theme with what seemed to be people who liked it and seemed to be people who didn't like it. And I think it might be a bit of a gender bias. And it's not that it goes specifically either way, but it does kind of matter, which is that men who watched this had kind of a splintered reaction. They either saw themselves and felt like, oh shit, yeah, I have a lot of trouble getting past these issues that I have and wanting to communicate in the people around me, even though I know I should, or like I have this big shameful burden from childhood. In this case, it was the issue with the father that I need to focus on before I'm allowed to be in love and do all these other things.
Mhm.
And then there are other men who are like, how dare you call me out? This is bullshit. And then to go to the other side, there were women who were like, I just don't know what this is like, and I don't like it or don't know how to handle this. People aren't this dumb, just talk. And then there are women who are like, oh, yeah, no, I have interacted with men like this or people like this, and I fucking hate it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Ah.
Feel that. Feeling that ladder of the that com- those types of people who have seen that movie.
Yeah.
Or this movie.
Yeah.
It's a really it's a trope. You
Mhm.
know, this is a very human trope to see, and it happens like this is a very interesting way though. The device of this person going into space, into this like unknown thing, and then having this, this experience to kind of highlight what it is that, you know, to highlight this very human connection or this like break in human connection from like being physically far away, one person pursuing an unknown thing
Mhm.
that could lead to, death or destruction or harm, and the other person being like, I just needed you here. I didn't need you to, go off and slay the dragon. I just needed you to be here for me because I need you. You're my person, and this is what you said that you were to me, but you're not doing this.
Yeah. Even if you want to like be the guy who saves the world, I'm on the world. Save me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's so funny. One of my notes says connection to your person, your other half through time and space. And I think that's such a poignant message. And I think that's probably what this movie was like, quote unquote, about. With that, it's not, is it a redemption tale? It's not quite a redemption tale.
We're not there for all of it. It's it's hopeful redemption. Like we hope that he will commit to what he is saying.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I had a hard time with the ending of it, of the movie itself, not only because I had to stop to throw up, but because it, like, that point through the beginning, through the Chopra cloud where he like stretches out and screams a lot. Oh man.
That's approaching the singularity. That is a physical commonality for black holes you see in films as well as like in textbooks.
Yeah, that makes me feel like a physical reaction. And I don't think I would do that for fun.
Metaphorically, it's like he's becoming literally all the atoms have to go into the exact same space, so they're all becoming. It's like it's a singularity with everything around him, even though he's constantly been trying to push it away.
Right, and I get the symbolism of it. The actuality of watching it was unpleasant.
Can I ask if you have seen other space movies like Gravity, 2001 Space Odyssey, Interstellar?
I have. I've seen Interstellar and Gravity.
How do your tummy handle those?
Not great, man.
Okay.
Not great.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good to know. It's just a consistent thing.
Yeah, I also have like a bad association with G-force on my body.
Yeah.
And I have some like PTSD there. So that's not it. Typically when I start to watch a movie and I start to feel that like that effect, I'll stop. I'll stop watching it and I'll do something else and wait until that part of the movie is over. And it's it influences a lot, like the parts of movies that I enjoy and the parts of movies that I don't, because there are like car crashes that come out of nowhere that will cause me to like have a little bit of a panic attack and stop watching movies.
Yeah.
This is an interesting topic because in the Green Inferno episode that I'm talking with Lauren about, Lauren has a lot of trauma around horror movies, and we're talking about how this is helping her microdose. So instead of avoiding it, she's taking it in small pieces and small bits and learning the way that the cinematography will foretell things that are about to happen. And so it's like desensitizing it to her. I think that this movie feels a lot like, if we're talking about microdosing, ketamine. Have either of you taken a K trip?
No, but this was exactly what one of my notes is basically like what a fun ketamine trip this has been. Like this is. I had just watched or listened to an episode of a podcast that I regularly listen to, and somebody was recalling their first ketamine dose, and they're older, they have a family, and they speak to how this experience, they're very successful in technology and business and all of these different fields, and he really thought that he was gonna have a lot of ideas and visions about his career and his impact on everything. And at the end of it, what he came out was like, nope, this was all I thought about was how much I love my two sons and how lucky I am and how important it is for me to, put out more than I receive at this point in my life. And I was like, this is just, and I just listened to that, and then I watched this movie, and so I was like, that's
the same thing.
Yeah,
Janusz Ketamine, man. Like,
yes, interesting. Yeah.
I have sat for people who have done ketamine therapy, so I'll be in the room to hang out with them and make sure that they're okay. If they're going to throw up, I help them, that kind of stuff, get them to the bathroom because they're out of it. And the most common thing that I've heard them describe is it suddenly feels like you are completely in space. Like there's no ground, there's no gravity, there's no feeling, there's no temperature. And then you are just overwhelmed with the understanding of how infinitely large everything is, how small you are, how unimportant things are, and how much you love the things you love. And like you come back from that kind of like you really remember the feeling. It's just such an interesting drug trip to come back and be like, oh no, I wanted to send a message to my sober self when I got out of there.
Wow.
Mm.
Fascinating. That does sound pretty much exactly like this movie's plot.
Janusz was ketamine.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, let me just say, I wouldn't have known that his name was Hanush if I hadn't had the subtitles on.
Exactly. Subtitles are so key.
So key.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Can't watch anything without them.
I think it's really helpful. Moving a little bit away from talking about the actual narrative of the story, let's talk a little bit about the acting. I know that a little bit earlier, Ari, you said that this is kind of your first, I want to say, entry in the like Adam Sandler verse, because there are a lot of thank you, trademark.
Yep.
A lot
Coined
of
it.
sad movies that he has been doing at this point, and so it really shouldn't be surprising when Adam Sandler does a sad movie. Although this is the first time he's really been quiet about his sadness, because he says that like he relates to emotions by being big, by being loud, and using comedy. And this is literally the director told him multiple times, like, no comedy, don't break the tension with comedy, don't do anything that's not written in the script. I want you to sit in each emotion for all of these scenes. And it can get a little like languorous at times where you're just like, oh, there's a lot of stillness here.
Yeah. The sadness was very palpable. And also just the sadness and also kind of the resignation to the scenario and the situation that he was in, like having to ask for the support to get his stupid loud toilet to get fixed. I was like, this is truly hell. But this is also like, you know, this is kind of the system that he is in and has been so successful in. So it's like, oh God, it was just like the burden of like the routine, the everything. And then when like, you know, towards the end of the movie, when he kind of is going through a big sad and he has the little droplets of vodka everywhere. You know, that, and even in the desperateness that he had, like when you know, he left the space unit to go after Janusz in the Chopra cloud, it was like he was in it, and I appreciated it, but it was like you could really see like it was I felt the emotions of him of Adam Sandler were pretty pure. And like and it felt like, especially in those emotions that were, you know, the quieter ones, they felt very, very heavy.
Yeah.
Very, like, very, very
Exactly.
palpable. Like, you even see it on his face. Like, he looked like shit for most of this movie.
He was in a lot of pain from the rig unit. That got to have shown a little.
Oh my God. Yeah. It was, yeah. Those bags under his eyes were
tough.
Major.
My notes say, should someone check on Adam Sandler? Is he okay?
Are you okay? Yeah, man, I'm fine. No, are you okay? Goodwill Hunting.
You know, we've been watching. Yeah, exactly. Are you okay? Yeah, I agree. I really believed every second of his performance. I really enjoyed watching him explore the part of his acting ability that I haven't seen. And I wish Carey Mulligan had done the same. I think that I would watch Adam Sandler in more roles like this.
So have you seen any of his other sad stuff? Like, have you seen Punch Drunk Love or Uncut Gems or to a lesser degree Funny People, which uses humor and like sadness kind of in a complicated way?
I haven't seen any of those.
I saw Punch after we recorded the last episode. I realized I had seen Punch Drunk Love like when it came out a bajillion years ago because I was like, oh, Adam Sandler,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
like
We may have been in
yeah,
college.
that was definitely in college, and I remember being like, this is weird. I don't like this. Like I was very uncomfortable with seeing this new serious Adam Sandler, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily say that I like seeing Adam Sandler. Like I like I don't mind seeing him in like kind of more like straightforward, less like hammy comedic annoying, but like
English is a very good example of that. I feel like that's the movie that straddles both verses for Adam Sandler. It's kind of romantic, it's kind of heartwarming, it's a little funny, it's a little sad. It's like not really much of anything, but it's also a little milk toast. So it's kind of like hard to not like. Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Early aughts. This is okay.
Really odd.
So as watching it the first time, I just appreciated Sandler's performance and felt everything that you guys are saying. Second time watching, I realized and checked this. He's doing all of his work to a tennis ball because it's all CGI. Paul Dano did some Zoom room. Sorry, I can't say it right. Some Zoom meetings with Sandler to like work through the script, and also like would show up on set maybe once or twice just to be like, hey, cool, that's what set looks like. But he's got a PA offset reading Dano's lines, and he is looking at a tennis ball. This is some and he's strapped into an incredibly uncomfortable rigging machine. Like, I really think there's a lot going against him, and he still pulls it out, It's hard to
And that's what I'm saying, like,
good point.
We should check on him. Is he okay?
Yeah.
He wanted to make
an inner ear thing.
Yeah.
After this movie, is he prone to ear infections more? Because I probably
He is. Don't worry about him. He is the highest paid celebrity in the world this year due to his
Baruch
Hashem.
Yeah,
He's doing fine. Also, little side trivia. In the beginning, when he's doing that press conference and the little girl says, aren't you the most lonely man in the world? That's his daughter.
I had a feeling.
Oh, get out.
I was like, this would be a perfect moment for a cameo for someone's kid.
It's a perfect kid cameo.
Kid cameo.
Sunny Sandler, that's her name. I just had to check it up.
That's very
Sunny
cute.
Sandler.
Oh, that's adorable.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Yeah. I'm rooting for the Sandlers. Good for them.
Yeah. Like, it's a tough biz. You gotta get, like, you find a niche, do your thing, like, get those royalties, like, keep on doing projects that you find interesting. Like, I love
keep Hollywood historically nepotistic.
Exactly. Why give other actors roles when we could just have your kids learn on screen?
Yeah, it'll just be Hawks and Sandlers.
Tangenting to the side, I am a big Isabella Rossellini fan.
Oh,
you guys,
100%.
Can we stand on her for a little while?
Yes, please. I fucking love her. I would watch her read the phone book. I think she's fantastic. I love that she was a part of this at all.
I have to ask straight out the gate, have you guys seen her like video series that she did explaining sex throughout the animal sphere?
I think I saw one episode.
I saw one of those. Yeah.
They're so I love them. I love them. It's just so bizarre. She's like the Silver Surfer of bizarre movies. Like, if you could see she's on the list, you know it ain't gonna be normal.
That's right.
As soon as I saw her, I think I wrote a note. I was like, what is this? Isabella Bingo Rossellini, Madam Ruler of My Heart. I was like, he's either gonna be
nailed it.
I was like, I'm already sold on this. By the casting and the fact that she agreed to do this like microscopic, film that's gonna be like straight to Netflix release. Like, wonderful.
Yeah.
I trust I trust her projects, even if at the time that they're not received as like to critical acclaim. Death Becomes Her. Like,
love.
Nailed it. Yep.
My father, for some reason that I don't understand, I think he just had my sister and I for the weekend when we were kids. he brought us to see Death Becomes Her in the theaters.
Sure.
Tiny.
Yeah.
I was like maybe 8.
Classic
And
choice.
like it was just like what? But iconic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
I think that he was like, oh yeah, Isabella Rossellini is in it. I'm in. Bruce Willis, Isabella Rossellini, Goldie Hawn, Meryl Streep.
100%. Teach him
Totally
young.
a kids movie.
He did you a
Yeah.
service. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm giving my kids art.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Of course.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I thought that she struck the right notes here in that like she was definitely serving the nation, but also managing the experience from like not out of the interest necessarily of the parties involved in this like relationship situation, but more for like the success of this mission for the glory of the Czech Republic.
Right.
And but also like you know, in such a deft way that like she could argue that she was doing it for the health and well-being of Jakub and Lenka. And you know, so it was a really, and also just the her presence and her strong beauty, it was just so, it's just struck the perfect note for this this role of the ruler plus kind of or arbiter of this mission that she was that Adam Sandler's character was on.
Yeah. Yeah. I see her as the Empress, no matter what. It doesn't matter what the role is. You know?
Big Empress energy. You're totally right.
100%. Yeah. And I think, yeah, the voice of reason as well.
Yeah. I think maybe Ari, you might have told me to watch this movie, and I've fallen in love with her in it. Marcel the Shell.
Oh yeah, Marcel the Shell with shoes on.
Yeah, I watched it, and she's just, talk about sad movie. Talk about crying during a movie. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful performance, and she gives her heart to everything despite any kind of strangeness. Like, okay, you're gonna be the grandma Shell in this, and she's like, I've got it. Wait to have your heart ripped out.
She does. This is all her art. Like, and she was going through a divorce while she was making it, and her husband, her ex-husband, is the producer. So
this is Jenny Slate.
Jenny Slate, exactly. Yeah.
It was written before that. Yeah, there was so much going on. I read an article her talking about making that movie and being like, I'm so glad it got made. It was such a thing of its time, but I would never recommend anyone make a movie with the person they're going through a divorce with while they're making
it. That seems just like a punishment.
Yeah,
that seems pretty cruel.
You brought up a point when you were talking about Isabella and how she kind of has to keep Jakob and what is the Karen Mulligan's character name again? Lenka. Thank you. Lenka together. I struggled a lot with Lenka's timing of her decision, and I get her decision 100%, but there is a point at which you have to understand, if you told someone in his situation this information, it would be akin to like forcing them to commit suicide. It is so volatile. Like I can understand wanting to break up with him, but I can't understand wanting to cause him that much harm. Like,
I think that's what makes Isabella Rossellini's character so relatable, is like the fact that she says the words, "Why are you doing this now? Can't you wait?" You know?
Yeah.
Like, thank God somebody said that, because I was literally screaming at, like, this is part of what makes this character so frustrating. Mm-hmm. I also kept thinking her name was Leitka, like the dog. The dog,
the dog or the camera,
right? Yes, or the camera. But that, the fact that her name really sort of brought up that imagery of like an isolated creature of sacrifice. Like, I think that might have been her viewpoint of herself, and that makes me feel like, I understand more why she was feeling so abandoned.
Yeah.
But also, like, what frustrated me is she says, when you dream, you leave. And he says, am I not allowed to dream? And and she says, whatever, I think, back to him, which is what he says to her. Like,
Yeah, she's
whatever is like
mimicking back that line. Yeah.
right. And whatever is such a hurtful thing to say to
Oh,
anybody whenever
yeah.
you're in like a serious conversation. It's like, having been married for almost a decade and a half, I can tell you that's like the worst thing you could possibly say during a fight.
Yeah.
So like that really struck a chord and kind of like hurt extra. But the fact that they're not allowing each other to dream, and in fact holding those dreams against one another. I'm just like, I could not feel the fact that this is a toxic relationship anymore.
Yeah.
Thank God you're pregnant, bringing a kid into this. Like, what's that gonna do?
Also, like how like a couple of things on that too. It's like, you know, also like having seen this in play out in a couple ways with some relationships, like someone makes the call, they make the call. It doesn't matter what else is going on. It's just got to happen right now. We cannot stand one more moment in the situation. It sucks, but like it's the line of demarcation has no bearing on what else is happening right now. And I think that like I believed it in like her state of like being alone, being about to like have hopefully her first successful birth.
Yeah, especially after the first bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, just feeling so desperate, you just make this decision and you're like, you're done. This is what it is. And so that is that. And I do think that they're fundamentally I the thing that I didn't really understand about the relationship between Adam Sandler's character and Carey Mulligan's character is like, why? Why were they connected? They seem like they're such opposite people. She loves being spontaneous. She loves being a little crazy. She loves going on these like mysterious, like little adventures. And he's very much like, no, I'm good. No, you jump in the pool that we just broke into together. No, we're just gonna, I'm gonna do this. I think that he's dazzled by her, but he certainly doesn't. And as I say this out loud, I definitely do. The connections are definitely happening in my brain of like, he went into freaking space. Like that is an adventurous streak too. But it is just like, they both have this. So I guess that there are some parallels there, but like interpersonally, like it's hard to kind of understand what that like pull that brought them together in the first place.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like he wants to live adventurously in the moment, and he can't because he's got all that shame and he needs to like redeem himself to be allowed to live the way she lives. And to go back to what Ari was saying about the dreams, I didn't take it so much as the like you're not allowed to have dreams, but the questioning of the idea that your dreams never seem to include me. You could dream, I want to go to space and then come back to my wife and have this baby, or I dream about, showing my wife about my experience in space, or I dream about having a husband who goes to space. It's more of this inclusiveness of like, you dream of a world that doesn't seem to ever include me in any aspect. But then as the movie changes and Han shows him these dreams that he keeps wanting to come back to are not about getting accepted into this program, maybe finding, the solution to what this purple cloud are. It's meeting her. It's, being in the pool. This is what we were talking about with the ketamine. It's the things that actually mattered to him. So he realized that he's been repressing the dreams that his wife has been asking him to even just have. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Sort of heartbreaking.
Oh, very heartbreaking.
It
is.
Is.
Like the idea of like, could you miss out on the timing? Like this couple may not work out. They might not be able to salvage this. There might have been a time in place in which they were good together, and this like regret of that. And then the Chopra cloud and Chopra is the word for fate. Like it's showing you that it's all kind of circular, and you can maybe hopefully go back in time. Our space-time travel joy.
Woo. That is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, like you can't literally bend time, but if you try, you can go back to that moment when you weren't an asshole.
Right.
Yeah, and it's also like, again, lots of, examples to kind of pull from, but like, one thing can be true at one point in time and then not true at another
yes.
point in time, and people change.
Yes.
And like, that's okay, and that's inevitable because change is the only inevitable
Yes.
thing. But, I think that like, so much of our, fairy tales are structured of like, this happened and happily ever after. Like,
Right.
it is just on a straight bowling alley lane to forever. So we're just gliding along and just smooth surfaces till the horizon, but it's not. And like, I think that thinking about that, like entering the fate cloud, could kind of mean like, well, they were meant to be together, but how do they kind of mitigate what they always were with what they want? And it's yeah, like lots of things can kind of change in over the course of time, but like, do you have the intention to kind of make something be?
You still have to participate. You can't, change is inevitable, but you can't just hope change happens to you.
And I think that that's a big part of like, emotional maturity is like understanding like reality and the fact that like you're responsible for your own actions and behaviors, and that you need to, if you want something, you got to work on it. It's not a set it and forget it, and it's no one else's responsibility to enable that to happen for you. So, a little bit of a wake up call. Thank you, Chauffeur Cloud. Can I visit? I would.
You have to be the master of your own fate, says Chauffeur Cloud.
Yeah.
So, we're in that part of the show where we're going to go towards our last 3 questions, but I did want to give you a little fact about this movie because I think it's really evident in our conversation. This movie, when it originally was finished in post-production and shown to screener audiences, received such a mixed bag of results that it stayed in post-production for 3 years.
Audible gasp.
No, I was going to say, this looks like a movie that was made during the pandemic.
Yes.
So smart. Good observation, Ari.
Thank you.
So, like, what do you guys feel about that? They'll do this to movies a lot. There's actually a movie that's just about to come out starring Kevin Spacey, and it was filmed during the period in time just before he had to stand trial for those 9 counts of assault. He wound up getting not guilty on all counts, and so now the movie's going to try and come out and see if we don't mind that, he's a terrible person. And usually that's the case, is they're trying to hide something. Do you feel like that's the case, or do you really just feel like they finally gave up on the, like, look, you're either going to like it or you're not going to like it, here's the fucking movie?
I think the latter, frankly, because everything, there's so many, streaming has changed so much in the last, since there. So it's like, when you see, it doesn't, they make content these days that could go anywhere. It could be available anywhere in any format. I was just watching that 4-part documentary about the conditions on the set of a lot of the Nickelodeon children's shows.
The dark side of children's
Right
television.
on the set. And it was, it was I as much as one can enjoy a documentary about that subject, but like the way that it was edited, I found was so interesting because there were obvious commercial breaks. They had like that, it was edited so they had kind of like a teaser, and then it ended, and then like the other half of that, the like intro teaser, like happened right after that, and I was like, this was meant for like a space where there were ads interspersed in the mix. They basically shopped it around. I know they shopped it around to Hulu, they shopped it around to Netflix, they shopped it around to this. So this was obviously like, I would imagine like this has a vibe of like in a very small art movie, but it could have very well ended up on Hulu along with like whatever the thing that Mandy Patinkin did at some point.
Ponzi scheme or something.
I don't understand it. I haven't looked at it. I have an aversion to the ad. That's so stupid. But like it's I think that I think that they kind of, it was content that they were sitting on, and so they might as well start getting a return for their money and get buzz in there. Like, who knows? It's now it's out there, and they can move on to the next thing.
It's so interesting that you would notice the editing on Quiet on Set. It's because it's wound up with HBO, and HBO is now doing commercials, which is a new thing that they're doing. A lot of services.
I didn't realize.
A lot of services want you to pay more for commercials.
Prime.
Yeah, Prime. So you're going to start seeing a lean towards editing with commercial breaks, which we, as the age that we are like, oh, I remember that. I'm seeing on TikTok people who are just like, what in the fresh hell is this?
They're like, they want to intersperse our content?
It's like a pre-commercial, but it goes to commercial and we go back to the, what was that shit? Oh, my sweet summer child. It's good eye on that, Sarah. It was really good to notice.
Yeah. It was very weird to kind of have that. Like, it definitely messed with the narrative of the story, because you were just kind of getting pulled in and then pulled out. Like, it was these unnecessary like peaks and valleys that were like, and I was like, do I have to go to the bathroom? No. Okay, like, then
am I hungry?
Do I have time? No. Okay, like, but it just went right in. And oh my God, yeah. So it was a very, I appreciated that this was immersive.
Yes.
It was a long form. It wasn't snacky. It wasn't divided up into like 3 episodes of, thank God, oh my God. I could see a world where, if this was like not edited down to like, I think it was like 130 minutes, 125 minutes. Like, if it went to like 3 hours.
I wouldn't have liked it at all.
Oh my God.
If it had been any longer, I would have had a lot of problems with a mood movie this long. I know, Ari, you kind of experienced it like a television show because you were taking your breaks. So I feel so bad.
I did. It's true. No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
I do have to say, the thing that like stuck with me, that I can't stop thinking about, is the Velcro system of that space capsule.
Yeah.
I have a tiny apartment.
I know, Sarah.
Tiny, right? You see it?
And my sister's trailer, like, what a good idea. And the little binder clips everywhere. I was literally like, this is so freaking
strips of some sort of like Velcro in my kitchen, and just like little Velcro dots on all of my stuff to just have them on the Velcro chip, or like, clean up. Velcro.
This is what we're going to do the next time we get together. I promise you this. Jessie would freaking love that. Yeah.
I could see this like on like, a baseboard area, or like, behind, like, you could do it artfully. So it's like also not like in a place.
Sure.
Just make a spectacle
or
of
you
it.
artfully arrange your stuff on Velcro strips.
I can see starting a trend here.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like economy of space. Like, multi-directional.
See if Velcro will sponsor you.
Oh my God. I'm going to do so much research on like things that won't destroy my walls. And also, I like, my brain just went into a ketamine hole of like TikTok empire based off of like my apartment, my space capsule.
No, it's good. As long as you have to have long fingernails, and you have to do the like, whenever you put something in a jar, you're just like, or the Velcro.
And I can get my nail salon to sponsor me.
Oh my God.
We love
you. This woman on gig.
There you go.
So, question. We already answered question 1, which was, did you like the film? Question 2, would you recommend this film to anyone?
No.
I would.
Only you, Katie. I would recommend this film to you because I know that you like.
I actually have already
introspective films. Yeah. Oh, have you already?
I've already recommended this film to my therapist. because I was like, Paula, I just watched this movie. Before we get into it,
So funny.
I was like, before we get into this other thing that I watched about these Nickelodeon sets, which
Right. Oh, God.
whole thing, I mean, it really, I don't want to.
It's worth
Yeah.
watching.
I was like, before we get into that shit, I need to tell you about something. This other movie that you should watch. There's an EMDR spider. It's called Spaceman.
Yeah.
He goes through a process. You need to watch it.
Oh
And
my
she's like,
God.
I'm so excited. I hope that she
Amazing.
watches it by the time our next appointment is.
You're gonna have to fill me back in on that because that's gonna be an interesting perspective. I am curious as fuck.
Let me just say, I think the line "Spaceman," I recommended it to my therapist, is like all you need to know.
Yeah, that's the tagline. Put it on.
That's all you need to know about this movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious.
But yeah, that's the only context that I would do if somebody like is going through it and I'm like and need to learn how to do like processing as one would learn if you had a therapeutic practice. This is a nice demonstration video of like what are the questions that Janusz, the big EMDR spider, is asking Spaceman. Like, ask it of yourself. Indeed. What is he doing? Describe what he's doing. Okay. Wouldn't that be helpful?
Absolutely.
Right.
Find a Hanush. What would Hanush ask?
There's a novel that
hug a toilet.
Ari's husband Jesse gave my husband Scott called Children of Time, and it has these like these spiders that wind up taking over another planet. The long and short is that what you wind up finding out is that the spiders are more human than even humans, and so when I like something about the spider EMDR that we're talking about, like it really felt incredibly human because of accessing that narrative of being like, oh yeah, space spiders are actually really good with emotions. I know this to be true.
Right. Right. Yeah. That culturally makes sense.
Culturally, of course. Ari, you said no, you wouldn't recommend this to anyone. You want to add any more words on that?
No.
But, brevity is the soul of wit, so,
I think, I don't think that I would recommend this to anybody because I don't really, I guess I'm lucky enough to not have context for this in my life right now that, like, I don't feel like anybody, I can share the lesson of this movie with anybody. And it's just not, it's not really my kind of movie.
Yeah.
And again, like if we were not doing this episode, I would not have watched it. But it's not that, no.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I absolutely hate a movie. And then I'm like, you know what? I know 4 people who are going to love this movie. Even though it wasn't for me, I can understand this being for... and also, I'll offer you something that my sister has created without knowing and does all the time. When she watches a movie that she does not care for and she's carrying it around, she'll ringu people around her, which is she'll tell people to see it, that it's good, and then they'll watch it, and as long as they've watched the tape, she's no longer cursed with the bad movie.
Terrible. Well, that's why
she basically like lures people in and like
she doesn't even consciously like she'll be like, no, it was really good. They were trying and it's interesting, and then I'll watch it and she'll be like, thank God it was garbage and I just needed somebody else to see that.
That's the visual
like go ahead.
It's the visual equivalent of saying this stinks, here you smell it,
except it's be like, this smells great, don't you think so?
Oh, okay. So she's like, maybe she doesn't feel confident in like her first take of it, and then somebody's like, what did you make me watch? She was like, okay.
Yes.
Like,
she needs to
this
spread
is
the malaise around and be like, I've been cursed and I can't. I have 7 days to get some other motherfucker to watch this movie. Get it off my soul.
That's funny. I will never watch a movie that your sister
Don't.
Yeah,
rates.
100%.
She's so
Making a
erratic
note.
too, because she'll give you the best movie you've ever like. Oh my god, wow! Because she listens to
Oh, so it's
podcasts
like-
about movies she hasn't even watched.
So it's like a Shazito Pepper situation.
A little Russian roulette with my sister.
This was spicy.
That's hilarious.
Ah.
That's such a good metaphor.
All right. Well, this is the end of the episode. Unless you guys have, this is the final thoughts part of the episode. Any final thoughts? Things you didn't get to say that you want to say?
HR plus capitalism is hell. I have to say that was a big note of mine. That killed my soul when I was seeing those conversations happening between him like radioing to Earth and being like, "Can I?"
And having to say the Bombas advertisement to be able to
like
use it.
the advertisement, and I was like, "Oh my god!" This is just.
And having it named after that sock company that's in the middle of like every podcast ever really hit home. Like Bombas socks. I was like, of course there's a Bombas commercial in this.
It would be like Dollar Shave Club.
That's true.
Rocket.
Bombas makes great socks.
Oh my god! Also, there was Sriracha on board. I clocked that.
Oh really?
And yeah, I was like, hot sauce in space. Don't ever let them tell you that they, they will have kimchi on board the Korean spacecraft.
Yes.
I hope they figured that out. There was there was like a big snafu with like Koreans going into space, or I shouldn't say that. There was like they were trying to figure out how to package kimchi at one point so that it would be safe for space, but there was like complications because it is a fermenting food, and that would be introducing like
live culture into space,
a factor into space, and so that just always stuck with me. Anyway,
that's amazing. That's such a great conundrum. Also, of note, Scott Kelly tells us that your ability to taste is diminished in space. So hot and spicy, like spicy things, are incredibly valued because you can actually taste them.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
So.
Also, like Janusz walking across all over the place in this space capsule gave me big like Buster Bluth. It walked on my pillow.
It was like, a bird.
Trig, I was like, it was a bird.
So you were going to put comedy in there regardless of what the director wanted.
Like, I don't know where you've been. You have mites. You have mites that are taking over you. You walked on my pillow. Like.
You've been clutching the toilet, and then you
eat the Nutella. I can't eat that.
Yeah,
like the whole Nutella. Get a spoon, buddy.
Spoon, exactly. You have little pinchers. You could hold it.
You're going in and out of the space capsule, buddy.
Yeah, hard pass. Hard pass.
Yeah, so I'm glad. Okay, that actually does make me feel better.
Yeah, that's great.
You got that out.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a very important postscript.
Absolutely. This is the things the audience needs to know when they're watching.
Correct. Yeah, and I wish that this movie had some sort of like a warning on it, like for flashing lights.
Oh,
that it was like some weirdos might get pukey. That would be my great
It's so
warning.
Strange that you experienced that and I didn't, because I'm usually the first one to go down for flashing lights.
I know.
I guess it was not as erratic because they were using a Steadicam. For me, it's the shaking that gets me. It's just too much. My eye can't hold still.
Yep, and I got sucked down like vertigo. Weird. Like in a whirlpool. Just whoop.
So weird what gets people. Absolutely.
I know. I'm also famously pukey, and this didn't even register
didn't
on my...
bother me at all.
I feel like the Life Aquatic, like nobody else got hit. Just leeches? Just me?
Just you.
No one else?
I guess
no one else got hit?
No.
Damn.
Put me in the canoe though, and I am puking in 2 minutes.
No, hard part.
That's what you get. Here's your spoon. Here's my spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. When now you use your other hand, and I don't know where that one's been. You didn't wash that one.
Yeah, you hang out in the toilet room.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you haven't noticed, the vacuum toilet is not working so great these days. So
he went through it.
One
Like,
thing and keep your freaking hairy space spider pincers out of the Nutella, the communal Nutella that's gotta last me till I get back to Earth. That would be nice.
that would be nice. That would be considerate.
Yeah. And do you know what? That's our final thought. If you learned one thing from Spaceman, is keep your hairy spider arms out of the communal Nutella.
Hello?
Your loneliness
Who is this?
entraced me. What's happening to me?
This is the part of the show where I go over any questions that may have arisen while we were having our discussion. We really only have one question. It came up in part 1. We were unsure of the name of the actor from The Bear, who is from Amherst, Massachusetts, and has 3 names. It was Eben Moss Bachrach. Known for his role as Richard Richie Jermovich in The Bear, he's the son of Renee Moss and Eric Bachrach, who run a music school in Springfield, Massachusetts. Moss Bachrach is a graduate of Amherst Regional High School, and he won the Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series this year, so good stuff there. That's going to be it for episode 10 with Arielle Faye-Foulds and Sarah Freiser. I want to thank them again for coming on. They did it kind of short notice, and they didn't really seek me out for this Adam Sandler episode. They were willing to do it when I asked them, and what great sports they were about it. So much thanks needs to be given to them on behalf of their willingness to do this, especially Ari, who wound up making herself quite nauseated from the environment, not from Adam Sandler's acting. So that's the silver lining. Of course, that's why we put that trigger warning at the top as well. I'm really sensitive to certain things in films, and they can give me migraines or make me quite sick. So I empathize a lot with that and feel a little bit of remorse that we made poor Ari go through that, but I'm really glad that she was able to come and still talk to us about it in a really thoughtful and not kind of mean way, which is what this show is about. So kudos on her for being able to do that, and kudos on Sarah for joining us for the first time ever. Really, really awesome conversation, and I'm very happy to have them with us. I will, of course, be making it up to Ari by watching a movie that is near and dear to her heart, but I know very little about in kind of an exciting way, which is that we will be watching The Emperor's New Groove for an episode in the future, and you'll all get to be privy to that insanity. So something to look forward to, and something that will not make her throw up or leave her going, "No, I didn't like it." Coming up in the next month, we're going to have a special theme for May. I've gotten both hosts of the now no longer being made podcast, Opinions May Vary, or OMV, Alex Squires and JR, are going to come on and do 2 separate episodes for what I'm going to call Opinions May Vary May, or Opinions May Vary, depending on how you want to emphasize that whole thing. We've got JR coming on to talk about Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. And this is a really interesting one because he didn't skip it too specifically from hatred, but kind of spite. You'll have to tune in to find out why particularly, but it's fascinating. It's also fascinating because that movie is on a lot of our guests' top 4. So it's a near and dear, not only to myself, but a lot of other film goers. Alex, on the other hand, will be coming on to do our first ever episode about a television show, and that's because his friends, many of them, have thrown him onto the sacrificial altar and asked that he be forced, and forced is not really the right word. He be asked politely if he was willing to participate in this particular formatted show and watch an episode of Last of Us. If you are at all familiar with Alex in real life, you will know how groundbreakingly, how shooketh that information should land with you, because Alex very, very, very famously and very, very, very much does not like the game Last of Us. I mean, ironically, on the day that we taped part 1, it was the day that he reposts a post on Facebook about how much he hates the video game every year. Annually, he rekindles that fire amongst us. And it's really quite humorous and quite interesting to break down why and how that affected his dislike of the show, which, separate from the video game, is really, really well received. So we're going to have him watch the Emmy award-winning episode from that series featuring Murray Bartlett and Nick Offerman. Yeah, you know that episode. You're already getting a little verklempt. It's going to be really great, and I'm super, super excited. You've obviously heard me talk about Alex Squires a lot because I do voice work on Starwell Foundation, and that is his particular production. He also did the FX for The Answer, which is that hilarious short with Jared, and then Girl in the Basement, which is Jared and I's short film. Wonderful person, can't say enough about him, and you'll get to hear his voice and his hilarity along with JR coming up in the month of May. Of course, go to those liner notes. You're going to see all that great stuff. I'm going to be at the East Hampton Film Festival May 4th. I'll put that again in the May 1st episode, so you'll definitely hear about it one more time. Talking about women in horror with women in horror. It's going to be fun. I'm super excited, and I hope to see you there. As always, thank you so, so much for making it to the end of the episode. I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're having a really awesome time. This has been What If I Don't Like It with your host, Katie Baldessaro. See you later, Space Cowboy.